let's pop out the chat. Lolly ho, Jellybean. Lolly ho, La Barbecue. Good to see you, glad to have you. Good to see you, glad to have you, Tracy. Ray Ray, good to see you, glad to have you. Jlolly, good to see you, glad to have you. How's everybody doing? How is everybody doing? Let's go ahead and get hopping on over to, we need to do some Dragoon questing, especially because we're at 2.3. We are not that far off from, needing Dragoon to be at level 50 for, Heavensward. Good, thanks. Good, Tracy. Good, good, good. Still dealing with that fucking COVID fatigue. It's, no bueno. I got up late today from the fatigue, and usually at least my energy comes in by the time I get stream going, but even today I'm already, like, I slept, like, I think 12 hours, and I still, even after a couple hours of, like, moving about and doing stuff, still feeling, oof. Knockout, good to see you, glad to have you. Professor, good to see you, glad to have you. Happy Tombstone Day, everybody. Yes, do not forget that the Tombstone event is now live. So if you want to go collect tombstones, we will be doing that on Saturday together. And if you, even if you are, what's the words I'm looking for? Make sure to do it even then. Yeah, it does leave people drained. Yeah, it's very frustrating. It's very, very annoying. And it's bad for my morale because I just want to work, but I'm so tired all the time. But I got you guys to hang out with, so. Shall we get some Dragoon story done? Ooh, gonna get my elusive jump. If it pleases to see how readily the dragon stirs within you, you show great potential, Elio. A potential that may well prove the difference between victory and defeat. Estinian is no ordinary dragoon. Even when set against the legendary Azures of ages past, the man is considered second to none. Such is his prowess. In fact, the day he was chosen by the Eye, it was proclaimed Hydaelyn, the Dragon's Eye, had been reborn. I mean not to disparage your skill, Elio, but to pursue Estinian in your current state would be tantamount to suicide. As promised, I shall train you in the way of the Dragoon, that you might face Estinian as equal. Before we commence, however, it is only fitting that you are edified regarding our origins. It all began a millennium past, when our forebears resided in the southern plains in humble circumstances. The Fury, impressed by the spirit of our ancestors, decided it was meet that she make them her own. So did she appear before Hydaelyn's sire, a man of courage and integrity named Thordan, and bade him lead her people to the promised land, to what would become the great nation of Ishgard. Their journey brought them to a wide chasm, whereupon Thordan and his people set to building a bridge. It was then that a dark shadow descended upon them, the great worm Nidhogg. Heedless of his own safety, Thordan fearlessly charged at the colossal beast. Alas, he was pushed into the chasm by one of his own, a man seduced by the worm, and fell to his death. All of that's horseshit. Taking up his slain sire's lance, Hydaelyn hurled himself at Nidhogg. Even as tears streamed down his face, the confrontation ended when the young man, his hand guided by Hydaelyn, landed a mighty thrust that prized out Nidhogg's eye. With a terrible roar of pain, the great worm took wing and fled, while jubilation reigned below. Ishgard's priceless relic is none other than the eye taken from Nidhogg that day. It is a veritable wellspring of the dragon's power. Even so removed from its owner, it can exert control over the hearts of men. Hydaelyn himself felt its malign influence, but his love of justice brooked no corruption, and he prevailed over the power, claiming it for his own. And so it was the first Azure Dragoon was born. Being derived from our foe, the power of the Dragoon is a thing to be loathed. But as Hydaelyn proved to us all, so long as our hearts burn with justice, we need not fear being taken in its thrall. But what is justice precisely? Justice assumes many shapes and forms, Elio, and none can say that one is greater than another. So long as you hold fast to your beliefs and stay true to yourself, you leave no room for the power of the dragon to master you. But enough of history. Let's return our attention to the present. A knight by the name of Sir Brookmont will see to the next stage of your training. Seek him out at Witchdrop. Sarah, good to see you, glad to have you. Aaron, good to see you, glad to have you. Yeah, you have not missed anything. We are just getting started. We're doing the warming up Dragoon quest because we are approaching 2. We're gonna be, we now wrap up 2.3, but we'll get through at least to the trial. We'll be getting to Ramu today for 2.3, and then after that, it's only a couple of days, and then we're heading on into Heavensward. But what is a man? But what is a man? A miserable little pile of secrets. But enough talk. Have at you. What is the Richter line? Something monster. Soon, TM. Soon. It's true. So, the adventurer seeks to become a dragoon. Ha! Sir Albrecht speaks of legends and chosen ones, but I would see you prove yourself in more practical fashion. With your lance. Defend yourself! How's everybody else's week going? You have some skill, I'll give you that, and the glow of your soul crystal. Perhaps Sir Alberic was not wrong about you after all. Now return to him, your training here is complete. Aubrey, good to see you, glad to have you. I have expected in more practical fashion. Dance off. Week's been good, did my first Savage the other day. Oh, nice, which one did you do? What's the lowest level for regular tombstones? Let's pull up the event thing. Dunscaith, 50. I think it's gonna be 50. Well, okay, so there's PvP. So you could do PvP, all the Borderlands, Seal Rock, Fields of Glory, on Zel Hakar, and Hidden Gorge. All are, Hidden Gorge. Rival Wings doesn't come back till 6.2, though. Yeah, weird. Actually, no, I take it back. Aurum Vale at 47. Zmail Darkhold at 44. Zmail Darkhold at 44 is the lowest level one to do. Though you get 1 extra for doing Aurum Vale. Though also that's yeah. The you get 10 for doing Praetorium though. And especially with Praetorium being shorter now, that makes sense. Dunscaith, you get 7. Wait, didn't it? I feel like I saw Dunscaith twice on there. No, I saw Void Arc. That's what I'm thinking of. Okay. Yeah, so all of the Shadows over Mach are in here. Yeah. P1S, nice. Yeah, I think P1S Savage, or P1S Savage. I think P1 Savage is a really, really great Savage for being a first time because it's very straightforward. I mean, like it's complicated, but it's like a very easy to understand complicated as opposed to some other ones, which can be a little bit harder, I find, for people. I know Aurum Vale is on at least 1. Yeah. Oh, Silver Kagaku, good to see you, glad to have you. I finished off the sparkly horses yesterday and got the Kirin mount. Also got Nightmare. Woo! Nice, Aubrey. Nightmare has a pretty low drop rate. I don't love its look, so I never use it, but I do have it. The soul of the Dragoon grows ever stronger within you, Elio. Clearly your trial was a rousing success. I need only observe your crystal to know as much. Yes, though you have only just begun to walk the path of the Dragoon, it is clear you possess the talent to become Estinian's equal. Go forth and make the powers you have obtained your own. When the time is right, we shall proceed with your training. I'm gonna go ahead and pick up this next quest. I feel like Coils was harder. Coils though is, so Savage Coils. The thing is that Coils is janky, which is part of why Coils feels harder. Whereas like, it's much more clear and specific, and like really set up what you need to do for like P1S. So like to me, like coils is not harder because it's harder because it's jankier. You grow ever stronger, and I speak of more than just the flesh. But I would say like even like a lot of Alexander ones can be harder than P1S, but also like P4S is like twice as hard as P1S. Slowly but surely realizing your potential as an Azure Dragoon, it is heartening to look upon. Though, I must confess that my presiding feeling is one of relief. You must understand the mere thought of the eye would choose an outsider, one who ill comprehends the threat posed by the dragons, filled me with the gravest of misgivings. Yet you have... but I shall say no more. Lest flattery impede your improvement. Now, during our last lesson, I enlightened you regarding the origins of Dragoons. You'll recall how Haldreth heroically triumphed over the great worm Nidhogg, and Ishgard came into the possession of the Eye. Tell me, Elio, do you believe these events truly transpired, or are you inclined to think them fairy tales? I'm inclined to think them mythology that is not the actual history. I ask you this because a few folk have seen dragons in the flesh besides we Ishgardians, and most would soon dismiss them as products of the imagination. Alas, dragons are no less real than you and I, with Nidhogg perhaps the most real of all. In the course of its history, Ishgard has suffered the creature's wrath on 8 separate occasions. Each time, the great worm rouses the blood of countless Ishgardians is spilled. Let us revisit the past once more, Elio. The time is 20 summers past. The place, Dravania. After a century in slumber, Nidhogg awakened once more to resume his reign of terror. Entire villages were razed to the ground, their inhabitants reduced to smoldering ash. Sensing the great worm's unbridled rage, others of his kind began to rouse, and in such numbers as to blot out the sun with their wings. A deep foreboding darkness swept over the Ishgard. Raging infernos painting the belly of the sky in angry red, the agonized screams of innocents fading into deathly silence. In my station as the Azure Dragoon, I was there through it all, bore witness to all the horrors. But there was no time to offer even a silent prayer. Nidhogg lingered in one place only long enough to lay it to waste, and when he took wing, so too did I pursue him, a man possessed. The game of cat and mouse continued for what seemed an eternity before I found myself face to face with the great worm. The battle unfolded in a tiny settlement on the edge of Kurthis, raging on for 3 days and 3 nights, with neither side able to gain decisive advantage. Remaining on my feet by sheer force of will, I realized that it must end now, else it shouldn't end well. Marshalling my last ounce of strength, I wagered all on a single thrust. My lance struck home, burying deep in the ruin of my opponent's empty eye socket. Yet before I could withdraw my weapon, the worm lashed out wildly in its agony, dealing a blow that left me sprawled upon the scorched earth, nigh incinerated. In that instant, I thought myself surely doomed, but Halone was not finished with me. Having lost the taste for battle, Nidhogg let loose a blood-curdling roar before fleeing to the sky. The battle was over. While I did not perish from my injuries, they rendered my body unfit to bear the power of the dragon, and I was Azure Dragoon no more. Laying bedridden, my thoughts wandered to all the innocent lives that had been lost, the people I had failed to protect. That last conflict with the dragons of Dravania left countless orphans in its wake. Istinian is one of them, the sole survival of Ferndale, the final village to suffer Nidhogg's wrath. With none left to care for him, I did the only thing I could. I took Istinian as my own son, instructing him in the ways of the Dragoon, and when he was of an age to learn. Yet I would not have you think me noble. My actions were born not of compassion, but of guilt. My guilt at having failed him. But alas, I have also failed him as a father. For what manner of man did I bring him up to be? A thief who would endanger the life of every one of his countrymen. Aye, you heard me right. All of Ishgard may suffer for his crime. Though we know little and less of the minds of dragons, it is conceivable that the disturbance surrounding his stolen eye will rouse Nidhogg to awaken once more. That his kin have already stirred from their slumber serves as fair warning of that. Time is not on our side. Fortunately, it would seem you are more than ready to embark on your next trial. Make your way to Witchdrop, where the knight Hestinian awaits your arrival. My nation is depending on you, Elio. Katie, good to see you, glad to have you. I hate coils. I mean, the thing about coils is janky. Coils isn't bad, and like the thing is that the coils mechanics can be also really fun if you know what you're doing. But they even when you do, they can be jank. Yeah, let me catch up. Okay, should get there by Saturday. Yeah, okay, awesome, Tracy. Blue Mage runs, here we come. Yeah, front lines only requires level 30, which is nice. Yes, if you're down for front lines, I would say do front lines. Now, the amount you get for the amount of time investment may not be a great ratio, but also there's a lot of other rewards you can get from doing PvP, so it's worth it. But yeah, I felt like Coils was harder. No, I felt regular Coils was harder than P1S. Yeah, no, yes, sorry, I said Coils Savage, but regular Coils are also weird because they're janky. I hate Coils, yeah, definitely. I need to farm them all, so pray for me. Party Finder, here I come. Yeah, flashback to Curtain Call. Oh, Decidium, good to see you, glad to have you. Our Savage group has been interesting. We've worked hard on learning P4S and it's killing me. I main tank. Well, I've been playing Paladin, so I do off tank. It depends on things, but we've been going through all of them. P4S is interesting. We have a Warrior main tanking solely because of Warrior shenanigans. Yeah, Warrior does make it a little bit easier, and his Paladin is like the quintessential off tank. Death is good to see you, glad to have you. Power, good to see you, glad to have you. I do so on Paladin just to giggle. I switch to Gunbreaker every once in a while. Yeah. At least Tombstone event means I should be able to get decent Q for Void Arc later. Yeah, if you want to do Void Arc, and especially if you're going to get the minions and stuff, now's a great time to do that. I believe the other one is, if I'm not mistaken... Oh, wait, that's Itinerant Moogle. Is this from last time? Yeah, patch is one. So guys, I was reading off the wrong one. 6.2 Tombstone event. I was reading off the wrong one. Sorry about that. I looked it up and it pulled the 6.1 event rather than the 6.2 event. It's actually not the Heavensward stuff. It is the... Why is it so hard to get it to pull up the right thing? Okay, so until launch of patch 6. Oh, for the love of fuck. Come on. There we go. So, the stuff, because I was about to say, I thought it was the, I thought the Alliance raids weren't Dunscaith, it was, Stormblood stuff. So yeah, so currently, biggest is Praetorium for 7, and Orbone Monastery. So if you want to do the Stormblood raids, now's a great time to do them. I'm going to be doing them on repeat. Objective awards, Ritteran Lighthouse is next up, and then it's Royal City of Rabanastre. So if you want to do Alliance raids, the 3 Alliance raids for Stormblood are by far the best to do, which is good because that'll help people unlock Baja and stuff. Onsel Hakar, Fields of Glory, Steel Rock, Borderland Ruins. So PvP tombstones. For dungeons, Keeper of the Lake, Lost City of Amdapor, Hawk Manor Hard, Castrum Meridianum, Orem Vale again. So Orem Vale's always there because nobody wants to do it. You get 3 for doing Porta Deca. Hey, Zmail Darkhold again also. So the dungeons are still the same. So Zmail and Orem Vale are still there. And then you get 2 every time you do Alphascape 4, Alphascape 3, Alphascape 2, Alphascape 1. Oh, literally any of the normal raids for Omega will net you 2 tombstones. Also doing the Cloud Deck, Castrum Marinum, and Cinderdrift, which are the 3 extra trials for Shadowbringers. And if you haven't done the weapons quest line, you absolutely should, especially if you haven't done if you're in Shadowbringers and haven't gotten to Endwalker yet, or if you're in the Shadowbringers patch content, you should definitely do the weapons content because it is very relevant to it becomes very relevant to building the story. It's the 6.1 events, not 6.2 out. It's not out yet. No, but the Tombstone event is going on until 6.2 releases. So no, this is correct. These are events are until 6.2 happens. I'm aware 6.2 isn't out yet. Oh, then rip, I can't do Stormblood yet. Well, Silver, I'm going to use this to my advantage to push my lower level DPS classes. Lower level DPS. For leveling? Or for what? For what content? I'm unsure. Anyways, and then rip, I can't do Stormblood yet. Well, Silver, you just gotta power through then. How far are you into Heavensward? You are the one who would aspire to be the Azure Dragoon. Why are you not even of Ishgard? Why, you're not even of Ishgard. If you truly possess the power that Sir Albrecht sees in you, then prove it to me with your lance. On guard. Dire Mites, those are weird to have here. I want all my classes at 60 before getting the full version. Okay. Yeah. I mean, there are a lot of other ways to level, like, once you... Like, Stormblood will have Heaven on High and stuff, and, like, leveling the other classes, so... Aurora, good to see you, glad to have you. Hello, hope everyone is well. Still dealing with COVID fatigue, sadly. Hope everyone is well. Just got out of the doctor's appointment. We'll lurk while I drive. Thanks for lurking. D, whoa, I did not hear you pop on. Hi, y'all. D, good to see you, glad to have you. That strength I have not seen its like since Estinian himself stood before me. Mayhap Sir Albrecht has the right of it. After all, return and show your crystal to him. I have no doubt he will be pleased. Sweet. Okay, that should be enough warm-up for, we got 2 Dragoon quests down. What a pretty game. I wonder if in lore, the Reaper class, it being a Reaper class Magitech, came as a byproduct of the Reapers existing, like if it was named for them. I'm curious, how are you flying before Heaven's Word? You, in A Realm Reborn, once you complete the ARR, you can fly in ARR maps. When we get to Heaven's Word, you won't have access to the Heaven's Word map. Every expansion is isolated in terms of the currents. So, that's how. Heaven's Word doesn't unlock flying. Heaven's Word just unlocks flying for Heaven's Word. It used to be that A Realm Reborn didn't have flying in it at all, ever. Even when you got to Heaven's Word, you wouldn't be able to fly here. But then in 5.3, I think, they added flying to A Realm Reborn. You have passed yet another trial with flying colors, Elio. The day when you may stand before Estinian as an equal is not far off. And when that day comes, the eye will choose you over the traitor. I have no doubt of this. But we must be patient still. For now, you must continue your training. When you can do no more on your own, seek me out once more. Falls in the room. Koshak, good to see you, glad to have you. I mainly just don't want any of my tank healer DPS to be super underleveled so I can freely choose what I want to play later in MSQ, not have to backtrack all the way to some 10 level quest. Yeah! I mean, the thing is that, like, that's not gonna be... So... The thing is that if you want to play something different during MSQ, like in general, I find you, because of like the XP rate you're going to want to pick one job, and that's going to be your job for that expansion, because like the rate at which the MSQ quests unlock, they go 81, 82, 83, 84, like they progress as well. So like trying to switch between different jobs mid MSQ is going to be a pain no matter what you do. So really, as long as you have like at least a job pre-planned for each expansion, you're kind of already good to go on those. The other thing I would say too is like you're still gonna have to unlock other jobs from once you buy the game, and on top of that, there's a lot of catch-up things that you get access to Heaven on High, which is a really good way to level incredibly quickly, as well as Baja and other stuff. So I mean, the thing is that, like, don't get me wrong. By all means, go your own way. But I would say that you aren't necessarily going to save yourself from much just by doing it that way. You are, and there are other and there are more ways to level that will unlock for you as a byproduct of getting Stormblood, Shadowbringers, and Endwalker. To the Rising Stones. Hey! Hi, Silver Kogaku. I already said hi. I'm thinking you're saying hi to Koshak. Power, and so I've gotten through Pixel Remaster 1.4, currently on 5, maybe not get through all of 6. 6 is much more expansive than the others, like 3 and 4. The story is in the first, though, like, only 3/4 of the story is in the first. Yeah. I need to replay those Pixel Masters at some point. I want to be able to play them, but I want to finish doing our Realm Reborn, or not a Realm Reborn, but the replay of the MSQ. Before I go jump into the other stuff. Part of the game, second half of the game should be called side quest of the game. Yeah, that happened a lot sometimes in older games. I mean, part of that is also because in older games, like, they wanted the final events to be, like, there's a lot of, you go, in a lot of, classic Final Fantasy stuff, there's always, like, the final act But the thing is that before the final act, you're given a bunch of opportunities to do a bunch of other stuff. To build up strength, to build up power. This is the final thing. I'm planning to farm Heaven on High anyways for Lone Hero. Well, yeah, okay, so doing Lone Hero is gonna be really slow, and you have to do it from level 1. So if you're leveling Heaven on High, doing a Lone Hero for leveling won't be a good idea, just so you're aware. That is basically, once you've already done it, leveled up your stuff. Like, basically, if anything, and maybe this is what you're saying you do, but basically what you would want to do is do a bunch of leveling jobs through Heaven on High, and like leveling them up to 60 or 70. I think 60, because I forget what, I know it's Stormblood's 70, but I forget where it cuts off for that. But I think it's 70. But the thing is that by doing that, you're going to increase your, what's it called? Light level, or basically your armor and attack, by going through doing that on repeat. So that's a good way to prep as well. Starts at 61. I'm actually playing through on an alt-right. Starts at 61. Oh yeah, no, I meant XP gain. Does it continue past a certain point? But yeah, that's what I do in POTD now. Yeah. Again, play it your way. Especially you're gonna be missing out on like limited time event things like this tombstone stuff, and especially if you want to be able to do like those alliance raids, it can be hard to queue for them when an event like this isn't going on. So just there are benefits, and as someone who literally only had 160 before having the full game, it wasn't much of a restriction. Our friends, the very isle itself, everyone and everything. No, it avails us not to speculate. Eorzean will send word if there are any developments. Until such time as he does, we must remain firmly focused on that which is within our power to change. With that in mind, I would speak of a different matter, one closer to home. It concerns aetheric fluctuations which we had previously attributed to good King Moggle Mog XII. The king is no more is a blessing for which we have you to thank. Yet all is not well in the Twelveswood. Our latest readings reveal an ongoing aetheric disturbance of considerable magnitude. They may even suggest the presence of a primal. Needless to say, the mere possibility warrants immediate investigation. I would have you... Acilia, I do not wish to interrupt, but we have a problem. What manner of problem? A band of refugees hailing from Ul'dah, this time are come to Revenant's Toll seeking asylum. It would seem they expect us to afford them the same treatment we gave the Domans. At present, they are in the 7th heaven awaiting a formal response. I see. Mayhap this was to be expected. I shall meet with them at once. Acilia, you know full well we haven't the resources to accommodate many more people. Consider what will happen if you do this. Word will spread and more will follow. Your opinion is duly noted, but I will hear their suit. Elio, I should be grateful for your presence at this meeting. Oh, I forgot to switch back to warrior. Whoops. There we go. Monophilia indeed. Is Hori Boulder out there? No, same as last time. Thancred's just hitting on Flamine. I apologize for keeping you waiting. My name is Minfilia, and I lead the Scions of the 7th Dawn. 12s be praised, it is you! We're ready and willing to work, same as the Domans. Just give us a task and we'll see it done. Pray, calm yourself. I appreciate your enthusiasm, but I know naught of your situation. Beg your pardon, antecedent. I ain't so good with words. We've been living off the scraps of Ul'dah for years now, trying to piece together a life to replace the ones what got took. They say there's work, but there's not for an honest man. Not as wouldn't sully his soul sooner than his palms, any road. The flames do what they can for us, of course, but it ain't near enough. And it's only getting worse. When the calamity brought us to our knees, those rich bastards in the city didn't help us up. They climbed on our backs. I don't pretend to be clever, but even I can see what's coming. I know we had to run. The only question was where. And then it came to me, Revenant's Toll. I mean, you took them foreigners in, didn't you? So you'd surely do the same for us. George, good to see you, glad to have you. And we've done monophilia since the Realm Reborn, since we started Realm Reborn because of the monotone voice acting performance that exists during 2.0. I fear the situation is rather more complicated. While it is true that we accepted the Doman's petition for aid, that decision was the product of extraordinary circumstances. I sympathize deeply with your plight, but pray understand that it is not possible for an organization of our means to aid all who have been affected by the calamity. And so it is with great regret that I must deny your request. But we've nowhere else to go. You're turning your back on us? Oh, if I might have a word. Tataru, is aught amiss? Ill tidings from Ul'dah, my lady. Alphino has been wounded. What? How? Is it serious? I cannot say for certain, but I fear it might be. According to the Flames, the refugees started a riot. They went wild, apparently lashing out at any and everyone. They can't be right. Why would they? They must have been provoked. The demonstration was meant to be peaceful. Seven hells, now the Blades have an excuse. They'll round us up and kill anyone who tries to resist. Antecedent, please, if you won't help us build a new life, at least help us keep the ones we've got. My lady. We are not ones to stand idly by and watch innocents suffer. However, until we know more of the circumstances surrounding this riot, I am not certain what aid, if any, we can provide. If the authorities determine that the refugees attacked without provocation, then those responsible will have to answer for their actions. How can you be so blind? Find Alphino, and quickly. If he is in danger, or worse, I would have you and none other by his side. Thank you. Pray, do not concern yourself with the matter we were discussing earlier. Yida and Papalimo will see to it. Oh, Alphino is being treated at the Hourglass. Hurry, Elio! To Ul'dah. Oh, right. Fight Redditor Alphino. Fight Redditor Alphino? Find Redditor Alphino. I was about to say, like, fight him. Did I forget a part of the story? They really have had no good luck. Yeah, no. I mean, like, the entire world has been fricked since the Seventh Umbral Calamity. I mean, not that it wasn't having its struggles before during the Sixth Astral Era, but the Seventh Astral Era has only just begun, and there's still a lot of scars and wounds that need healing from the past. And hell, many of them are still active onto Endwalker.
Come, you must have gathered by now that Tataru is given to exaggeration. As you can see, I am quite well. Ul'dah, on the other hand, is not. This riot was anything but an isolated incident. There is a restlessness in the air. Tensions long simmering are at last threatening to boil over. Ul'dah is a nation infamous for the great disparity between the wealthy and the poor. The majority of the populace accepts this state of affairs because they believe that every man bears responsibility for his own lot in life. To an Ul'dan, money is the foremost, and some would say the only measure of a man's worth. Small wonder that the wealthiest wield the greatest influence.
It's interesting because it's not necessarily shown to be different in Limsa.
Hierarchy. What place is there for those who fled Alamigo and the destruction of the Calamity?
Very important that there's "and" in there.
Plainly, there is none. They have no wealth, no power, and no worth. To the Ul'dan way of thinking, they may as well not exist. Choosing to ignore their existence, however, is patently not an option. General Rauban and the Sultana understand this, which is why they ordered the Immortal Flames to provide the refugees aid and succor.
But that only works for
Yet
so long.
None would
it's not a
dispute
lasting
that
solution.
the expenses incurred by this policy grow by the day, with no end in sight. This has prompted more and more Ul'dans to question their obligation to aid these worthless wanderers. While more and more refugees have come to resent their treatment at the hands of the sneering citizenry. The manner of Lord Lolorito's refusal to grant the Dolmens asylum bespoke a disdain for all refugees, an attitude shared by the rest of the monetarists. And you may be sure they make no effort to conceal their opinions. It was only
it's interesting because it's not necessarily shared by Godbert.
United in protest. Nor is it any surprise that some among them would ultimately resort to violence.
Don't make people desperate. When you make people desperate, bad things happen.
That the Immortal Flames should choose this
rule.
of all occasions to engage in joint training exercises with the other Grand Companies. By the time they return, the situation may well have deteriorated beyond mending.
You heard it here. PvP is responsible for the woes of the world. I so wanted to hire the refugees to clear out dungeons. They could potentially house them. Amdapor Keep is arguably fine after getting rid of Ferd. Yeah, no. So like Amdapor Keep like has multiple other problems that are like so one, you're in the purview of the 12's Wood, which means you still are under the purview of dealing with the elementals. So you the Grudanians wouldn't allow that to happen. On top of that, you have the issue that a lot of the refugees aren't like the dungeons are dangerous as shit. Like people would die. A lot of people would die in the process of doing that, even in having them be cleared out. You're still also dealing with the fact that that gives potentially a housing, but that doesn't solve the problem of you have many hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands, who still don't necessarily have food. They don't necessarily have a sustainable methodology for living, and like they don't know what they can eat or farm in the 12's Wood. And on top of that, again, the elementals would not want that. They would not allow that because it would upset the balance of the shroud. Honestly, what gave Alphino of all people the authority to declare the 7th Umbral Era over in the beginning of the 7th Astral Era? Well, it wasn't really just him. It was everyone agreeing. I mean, the thing is, it's always been a soft thing, and it wasn't him so much declaring it. It was more of the finale of A Realm Reborn. It's really the leaders of the 3 nation states and everyone agreeing upon it. Like, it's not just Alphino saying it. It's a broadly agreed, this is where the light shines again. This feels right because it's always been a soft delineation. Also, the fact that canonically there are housing zones specifically set aside for adventurers when there are refugees in need of housing leaves a bad taste in my mouth. Yeah, and I mean, to be fair, like all the quests for the housings also say that. But the thing is that like the thing about the refugees too, though, is that it's not really a problem. Like, there is the problem of housing, don't get me wrong, there's people on the outskirts, but like, there's the more major problem is a lasting solution for making people have the opportunity to be able to work for a living, to be able to afford a better quality of life. And so it's not just about providing housing. But yeah, I mean, the thing is that literally, like, when you do the quest to do any of the housing regions, they're like, wait, This is, like, they're doing it for the adventurers, but even the people who live here can't get a good one. So, but they also remember that it's important that they have adventurers because adventurers are required to keep things safe and also to keep the dungeons. So, like, there are reasons and incentives to make sure that adventurers are sticking around and making the economy and the region function properly, especially in such dangerous times. So it's like it's hard. Y'all just had to go play PvP. Yep, everyone just playing PvP made everything go wrong. If you start in Gridani, the MSQ will explain why the 12-wood dungeons wouldn't be eligible for that. Yeah. Is there... Let me see. Is there a Realm-Reborn dungeon that would make sense? Sistasha, no. Temtera, no. Copperbell, no. Especially even after clearing out the Hecaton Kairis. Halatali does get cleared out and gets used, so in a sense it is getting used. Thousand Maw is definitely not. Again, anything in the Shroud doesn't really work. Hawk Manor, if you could fully clear out the... I mean, the Elementals still don't like it, and the Gridanians don't like the fact that Hawk Manor exists at all, so even that wouldn't be great. It still doesn't solve the problem. Brave Flock's long stop. Dangerous as frick. Karn, no. Stone Vigil, no. Orem Vale, definitely not. Wanderer's Palace, nope. Castrum. You can repurpose the old Castrums for use potentially. Although we still see members of Garlemald still stalking them, so maybe not, because they probably remain somewhat manned even afterwards. Amdor Keep, already explained that. Pharaoh Sirius, it's not really houseable, plus corrupted crystals are... Hullbreaker Isle, no. Sistasha, still no. Yeah, there's no dungeon, at least so far in A Realm Reborn, that really makes any potential sense. As I told you before, it was all but inevitable that the incidents of this kind would eventually occur, given the rising tensions within the Sultanate. Nevertheless, I have reason to believe that this particular riot may not have begun spontaneously. Have I piqued your curiosity? Good, then you will accompany me to the Hall of Flames. I would hear what General Raban has to say upon the matter. Thank you, Ray Ray. If you like what we do, consider showing your support and signing up for our Patreon. Power, a professor, that's actually similar to the real world issue with housing. Yeah, most housing developments are for people that are middle class or higher, not much the lower income people. And also, but also if you create it for lower income people, then you have a difficulty around, like, the thing is that even if you create affordable housing for lower socioeconomic groups, you still need to make sure that those lower socioeconomic groups have stability, else you're creating a situation in which you can, facilitate people's desperation, then like may result in people turning to crime, which can cause problems for everyone. And so like the thing is, if you solve one part of the problem but not the other parts of the problem, you can end up making things just as bad or worse. But at the same time, you also have to deal with the problem of incentives around lower economic housing, which you effectively have to do some sort of subsidizing on to make it worthwhile for people to do that, which that's why you would want social safety nets, but and why you would want to justify subsidizing that, because also on the whole, as you make the average person in a society's life quality of life better, you make the entirety of like living in that society more enjoyable and better. What a wild notion. Wanderer's Palace just makes me feel bad for the Tomberry. Yes, although things are improving there. After Hard, things do continue to improve there quite a lot. And if you've done the Scholar quests, you know what I mean. Yeah. Honestly, a lot of the stuff that happens in 14 could be used as a reflection of the real world. I mean, a lot of the stuff that happens in 14 is intentionally a reflection of the struggles of the real world, especially all the socioeconomic stuff, especially that stuff. And especially anything around refugees and all that jazz. Now is not a good time, Elio. My hands are full of dealing with the refugees. Precisely the matter we wish to discuss, General. Alfino, back on your feet already. You may credit my swift recovery to your Eorzeans. My memories of the riot are still somewhat muddled. I trust you managed to regain control of the situation. Not entirely. We secured the city soon enough, but not before the unrest had spread to the surrounding territories. Pockets of resistance remain throughout Hydaelyn. We have sent what forces we can spare to root out the last of the belligerents, but progress is slow. They are damnably elusive. I can well imagine. Given that the majority of the refugees live outside the walls, it stands to reason that they would know the lay of the land. What I do not understand is how they come to be so well prepared. Before my little accident, I observed that several of the refugees were armed, and not with butcher knives or pitchforks, but with martial weaponry. I need hardly add that such equipment is costly. None can deny the tensions between Ul'dah's citizenry and the refugee population have increased since the Domans were turned away, but would that motivate a starving man to purchase arms in lieu of food? I think not. And what of those who have not even a single gil to spend? Who could not survive without the aid provided by the immortal flames? Surely they would sooner sell a weapon than bring it to bear against their benefactors. Come to the point. Very well. My point, General, is that the powder keg of discontent was not set alight by chance. These events were deliberately set in motion, and now order must be restored. That is my first duty. Until it is done, any investigation can wait. I do not have time to discuss this. My scouts will be returning anon. Hands won't be full for long. Des, good to see you, glad to have you. Des. The general is no fool. He keeps his own counsel, and with good cause. Were he to claim without the necessary proof that these riots were instigated by outside forces, the monarchists would accuse him of attempting to shirk responsibility. After all, he and the Sultana have been the most outspoken proponents of refugee aid. Regardless, they will face harsh criticism in the days ahead. Our allies may stumble upon the truth in time, but I have far more faith in your abilities, Elio. Therefore, I propose we conduct our own investigation, independent of the authorities. To that end, I would have you make inquiries in the settlements suspected of harboring belligerents. Commander Swift will know which they are. He may balk at the request for such information, but I have no doubt that you can persuade him with your silver tongue. And silver nods. I, meanwhile, shall seek answers in my own way, after which we can regroup and share our findings. Well then, shall we? I want that little lord emotionally destroyed. Hey, Demins, good to see you, glad to have you. I don't abhor him and hate him quite to the same amount that most of you guys do. Conceited, yes, and frustrating, sure, but also understandably so. Not understandably so in that it's like, oh, it's fine, but understandably so in his life experience. You look as though you have something to say, Elio. Do you? When you ask no simple favor, we have such information to fall into the wrong hands. The lives of countless soldiers would be at risk. Even so, there is wisdom in your words. An able individual may be better suited to the task than a regiment. Very well. The Brass Blades have reported suspicious activity in the vicinity of Lost Hope. It may yet be unrelated to recent events, but we doubt it. I suggest you begin by speaking to the Blades posted here. Lost Hope is in Central Thanolin, I believe. Yeah, Blackbreast Station, yeah. Raban's not wrong. Hard to investigate the source of a riot when the riots are still going on. Yeah, and then that's the other thing, is that making people desperate is always bad. Do not make people desperate. Desperate people do dumb shit. But the other thing is that desperate people are easy to manipulate. So if you make people desperate, you will allow those with power to manipulate things. Shizun Kanen X, good to see you, glad to have you. Cal, good to see you, glad to have you. The boy is moping because he hates his paw sock. I'm going to send him down to you so he can show the chat. Deadpool. We've got Deadpool coming down. Query, does Pippin fight like Dark Knight? I noticed that when Raban gives him the spare sword, he straps it to the back a la Dark. No, he fights like a gladiator. He would fight like a gladiator would, especially all of his training by Raban and the Blood Sands would be that way. Deadpool, come here. Come here, bud. Come here, bud. So Deadpool's been chewing on his foot, so we had to put on his little booty. Come here. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Oh. You got your little booty? You got your little booty? It's very cute of you. Ooh. You ready to go down? There you go. Also, every time Deadpool gets held like that, he gets a treat. So know that he is well paid for his time. Oh, what a warm welcome. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. Of course. Everyone gets a welcome. just glad to have you guys here. In between AR and Heavensward, I got extremely salty that I couldn't kick Alfino off the bridge when we were crossing it. Wait, between AR and Heavensward? Really? After, like, he just went through what he went through? I feel like that of all the times to not feel like like, the boy's already down. Like, the least time he needs a kick in the pants is, like, when you're traveling across the bridge to Ishgard, in my opinion. I went to school with rich kids very similar to AR, Alfie. He gives me high school name flashbacks. Yeah, don't get me wrong, too. Like, people like that annoy me to an extreme amount. But the thing about that it's important to me is that Alfino's heart is in the right place. And also, the narrative allows him to have character growth and to grow from it, and also allows that condescending nature to be a weakness that is taken advantage of. His arrogance does lead to tragedy and suffering, and he has forced to grow from that. So it's like, it's okay to have a fun, like, I don't mind it too much, especially as bothered by it was the first time I was going through, I wasn't super bothered by it. And then the fact that it is not so much just a comeuppance, but like a byproduct of that arrogance is the events to come. I really, really appreciate it, even seeing it now. Popper. Yeah, everybody loves Deadpool. Okay, so he's just fighting with an oversized weapon then. Yeah, he's just in Lalafell fighting with a sword meant. He's fighting with a sword meant for Raoban, right? Friend of the Sultanate, are we? I take it this means someone has read my report. The refugees who left with the merchant have yet to return, and I am increasingly concerned that Zazawaka's suspicions were correct. You haven't the foggiest what I'm talking about, do you? Never mind. Speak with Zazawaka. He will explain everything. And what brings you here, adventurer? A search for refugees? Well, then you've come to the right place. Ah, you mean those refugees? Oh no, you won't find them here. Most of the peoples of Lost Hope have come to accept their situation and are content to pass their days in peace and quiet. Outsiders have trouble understanding that, like the merchants who passed through recently. Gregarious fellow, but awfully opinionated. Can't say I was sad to see him go. He's already oversized himself. Pippin? Or... The only time Alfie got on my nerves was the Crystal Braves arc. I didn't mind him before. It's interesting you say that, because the Crystal Braves arc, I almost get more because he's finally seeing what he thinks of as his grandest ambition and dream come true. So for me, the Crystal Braves arc is not the most annoying. I'm actually more annoyed by him in like 2.0 because of the way he treats everyone. I think at 2.1 also I would say is and like how he treats Minfilia, and that is very, very annoying, very irksome. About halfway through Heavensward, I stopped pouring BBQ sauce on him when we were fighting dragons. Do dragons even like BBQ sauce? I feel like that. I don't know. If you think about the personality of some of the dragons, that does seem pretty apt. But also, Tethys, you over here, you so judgy, Tethys. You so judgy. You like, the second someone runs you wrong, you like, I ain't done with you. You're gonna have to fight to earn back my affections. I want this upcoming archer skill. He lands a shot well past the 25 yalm limit, and I'm jealous. Okay, are we going low or are we going high? Here's a quarter. Oh, woo! Oh my god, I can't catch anything. Oh, dude, the coin landed in my breast pocket. Sweet. Going high. Also, I just realized I have coins in my pocket, and thanks to you guys, I have a piggy bank. Actually, you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna... Should I put the dollars in too, or just coins? I guess I never use the dollars for anything, so I guess I'll put the dollars in too. We're gonna have to figure out what to do with this. Maybe have a pizza party or something. I love cactars. Actually, oh, speaking of. Thanks for reminding me to turn my cactar back on. I needed to get a new plug-in because I ran out of batteries for it. There's really more than a few times when I wanted to punch Alfie in the face in a rubber form. Yeah. Cactar, that's cute. Yes, I love Cactar so much. I did want to smack Alfie after Stone Vigil after he said he was worried my possible death would mean he'd have to find a new champion. Not because he would have lost a friend. Yeah, you try to be playful there, but it doesn't. I don't feel it comes across particularly well. Alfie doesn't see you as a friend until sometime into Heaven's Words. I don't know. I think I think there's a certain emotional distance he has from anyone, because I think if you think about his time in the studium and in Charlian, he's never had anyone be particularly close to him. The only two people that have been close to him, the only 4 people he's had that have been close to him really are Kryl, Emilience, Fortunal, and Alice. Fortunal is Fortunal, so, you know, like, he hasn't been super close to the twins since they were relatively young, thanks to Well, also Louisoix, obviously Louisoix. He lost Louisoix. Alice, he's, like, goes off on her own, is, like, obviously they're not super close onto, I mean, even, really the first time you see them in close in any meaningful way is, you know, Coils. I mean, it's the first time you really see Alice in any meaningful way anyways, but, Emilience, we know he's writing letters to, and he is still close to Emilience, but, like, he's not seeing her, and Kryl doesn't come into the narrative until Heaven's Word, so, like, there's an emotional distance between him and everybody else. You know, maybe that it is fair to say, I don't know that he wouldn't not call you his friend, but there's definitely a certain level to which he becomes emotionally close and resonant with the Warrior of Light and other people, more so after his failings during 2.x. Alma, help me, Elio Faucheron. You're my only hope.
Don't hurt me! I'm not one of them! I beg your pardon? You're not a flame? I see. If Leofric bid you speak with me, then I take it you've agreed to help. 12 be praised for that, because we haven't had a moment to waste. Everyone knows the flames are on the march. The others have fallen under the fanatic's spell, but not I! Promises of revolution and retribution, of holding the ruling class to account and taking that which is owed. Ha! A childish fantasy.
It is also particularly sad how much the powerful use those who are disaffected and disadvantaged to say, like, yes, we will clearly, like, you know, defeat the rich and powerful, just using them as a weapon. It's too bad that never happens in real life. It's a good thing that that's only happens in fantasy games.
I did everything I could to dissuade the others from leaving, but few would heed my words. Now the one of our idealists has returned. However, the madness of the merchant's plan is plain for all to see. Look behind yonder tent and you will understand why. Even now he babbles incoherently, so traumatized is he by the bloodshed he witnessed. Try as I might, I can make little sense of his words beyond the fact that he was not alone in surviving. Yet I have no doubt that the merchant will lead the remainder to their doom. I beg of you, find them before he does.
Only in fantasy games. It's true. It only ever happens in fantasy games. It never happens in the real world. What are you doing? Don't draw! Don't draw! Don't draw! Don't draw! Don't draw! Why did you run away with me? We could have escaped together. Then you'd be here with me, but here to soothe me. Why? Why did you have to stay and leave me alone? God, as when I've had PTSD flashbacks, that reminds me of, like, because I have a pretty bad anxiety and PTSD flashbacks, and one of the things that happens with is I have spasms where, like, my body starts repeating words. So that hit home. Who are you? What do you want? Aye, it's true. I followed the merchant, and may the gods strike me down for my folly. What they will not give, you must take, he said. When we asked how, he revealed a cache of weapons he had brought and implored us to seize the control of our fates. I thought about running then and there, but the others were so excited. He split us up into 2 groups, sent us off on our own. But when the flames found us, we didn't know what to do. Our leader tried to parley with theirs, but then they started arguing and then fighting. And then everyone was fighting, and the flames were shouting and to give no quarter, and... oh god, it's the other group. They're still out there. If we don't stop them, they'll be massacred like mine was. Yeah. When did games get so political? Games have, and I know you know this, Demons, but, like, games have always been political. just because you were unaware that they were being political doesn't, like, the amount of times I've seen people say, like, when did games get so political or something, and then point to, like, a game they liked, like, from, like, the 90s or something. Like, the sort of thing where, like, I've seen people say bullshit like, when did games so political? I mean, like, Final Fantasy Tactics wasn't political. Or, like, shit like that, where you're just like, what game did you play? Just, like, go back and play it again. Yeah. New merchandise store is open. Get stickers of me, Ray Ray, or me, Elio, over at redbubble.com. The terrified refugee is when people make me play draw pile. Yeah. Do you think insert Garlean problems in Endwalker happened to Alma and her family, or do you think they get away? Alma? My brain's. I just keep thinking of Fear. Oh, do you mean Alma Lexentail? Like the from the Stormblood Alliance raids? I just keep thinking of the Fear, the game, and Alma from that. I feel like because Alma from that would just fuck up the Garleans. The other refugees are hiding in the caves south of Lost Hope, but to approach them would be fruitless. They would sooner call us the agents of the Sultanate and try to kill us than listen to reason. Why the twins might even deign to do the deed themselves. The pox and all bloody sellswords. They're supposed to train us to fight, but the ones he sent us with vanished during the struggle. Oh, if only we had never listened to the merchant's ridiculous claims. He said our cause was righteous, that the gods would never suffer us to be defeated. Though if they were forced to confront reality. That's it! Challenge the twins to combat. Show my brethren that the strongest warriors are no match for one man. Mayhap then they will agree to lay down their arms and renounce this plot. Chrissy, good to see you. Glad to have you. Nah, they're on the Prima Vista. They're fine. Yeah, those guys, not even just because of the Prima Vista, like, those guys are fine for a number of reasons. They were already, like, cut out from... If anything, I would expect more to, like, see them pop up again if to do with the restoration of Garlemald, New Garlemald or something. I don't know if they'll want to because of, like, your first meeting in Stormblood and, like, that being weird, and also, like, Matsuno stuff they try to avoid. They only let, like, Matsuno write. But I could totally, yeah, I think those guys are totally fine. I think that the thing is, they got away when you first meet them. They had already gotten away then. So, yeah, I've seen people unironically say games should go back to being apolitical, like Metal Gear Solid. Oh. Wow, yeah. You know that game that definitely never has touched on any form of geopolitics. Metal Gear Solid. It's a cool story when we were kids. As adults, it's a wake-up call. Yeah, you know what's interesting? Am I going crazy? Oh, I see. This way. Even as a kid, though, I always, like... I don't know if it was just because of the household I grew up with, but, like, I always was paying attention, noticing, like, the political themes and stuff, even, like, as a kid. Like, I didn't have, obviously, a full depth understanding of all the history and everything, but, like... It was, like, clear to me that things were being said. Like, I don't know. Like, I remember reading The Hobbit and listening to, like, The Lord of the Rings as a child, as a very young child, and being, like, understanding, like, oh, how this is a reference point for, you know, not allegory. Obviously, Tolkien hated that, but more in so that, like, obviously these stories reflect themes of mankind, of people, of the things we do, and by that nature have to reflect, by nature of reflecting people, reflect, you know, political systems and all sorts of stuff. It's just, like, it's just weird to me because, like, that's, you know, that's narrative, right? Like, any narrative that is about something meaningful, and any kind of reflection of like the experience of humanity in some way is, like, it is, yeah, I don't know. Honestly, Final Fantasy XIV really isn't political per se, just a reflection of reality. I mean, the thing though is, Power, is that I think for most of I think the vast majority of time you hear people say political, that is what they mean. So the thing is, I think a lot of people would disagree with you. I would think that if, depending on how you define it, I think Final Fantasy XIV is highly political. I think the problem there is that the disdain and the apathy and the frustration that people bandy about that term with is the problem, more so than, like I think when something is a reflection of reality, Isn't that politics, right? To be a reflection of the human condition is a statement it is a statement. It is a statement on the agenda. Like, to contend with the destruction wrought by humanity upon itself is, depending on, not even just to talk about conservative and liberalism, but also, like, there is a lot about, conserving what is, or what was, ultimately, could anything be more conservative than the Eorzean mindset, right? Or, so it's yeah. I personally enjoy the politics of Pong and how it reflects Dutch imperialism. Yeah, Evilist raids all, but yeah. And we have to answer to, what does Emmett Selk do in his free time? He enjoys theater. Yes, he does enjoy the theater. He built the Prima Vista. I mean, like, we know that Emmett Selk's a drama queen. The motherfucker built the Prima Vista. 7 hells, they found us. Everyone grab your gear and make for the rendezvous point. So that's your game, is it? Sorry to disappoint you, lad, but we're more than willing to kill you ourselves. Yeah, good luck with that. Ah, yes, send the Lalafell after me.
We can't take him!
Geopolitics? Never touched on. Misfortune in the digital age? Not once spoken of. Just good wholesome family fun. The Metal Gear series. I mean, the thing is that you could say that for 14 too. Geopolitics, literally their first major content patch, like 2.1 to 2.55, right? Like after A Realm Reborn, you're constantly dealing with geopolitics as one of the primary plot points throughout the entirety of Final Fantasy 14. But like literally think about the climax of 2.x is political intrigue and betrayal more than anything else. It's not a primal fight. It's not a, it's... Emmett, Selk, and Van Daniel are prime examples of why theater kids should never be given power. It's true. Honestly, it's more interesting to see realistic issues in fictional settings since it makes the world feel more alive and easier to relate to, even if one points are pure fiction or exaggerated. Yeah, no, well, I mean, that is the power of science fiction and, fantasy, right? Like, I mean, it's the whole, so like, here's the thing about science fiction, is with science fiction, you are able to create a, let's say you make a world with aliens, right? And that it's talking about something that's very important or resonant with current, something that is, needs to be talked about in society or culture, right? So you have that, but then you make it so that all the characters in it are aliens, which means you can take away people's preconceived notions, because you can't, if you say the main characters are dogs, well, if you're not a dog person, maybe you're instantly you have preconceived notions about dogs, you don't like dogs, you don't like those things happen. But if you take an environment that you don't have a preconceived conception of, you then make it so that people can approach and contend with and deal with something far easier, or not even just easier, but far more able to deeply engage with an idea rather than with all of the baggage that they hold on to. In the same way, like it's no surprise that narrative is an incredible way for us to contend with those things of the human condition more so than reality sometimes, because of reality is not distilled. Reality is not narrative. Reality is chaos. And so it is not an escapism to engage with narrative and media as a means to deepen your understanding or to contend with the realities of the human condition. That is the last thing that escapism is. Escapism is only to engage with something that is utterly vacuous, to garner nothing because you cannot contend with reality. To flee from reality for a moment to engage with narrative so that you might come back to reality better suited, better prepared, better, that is not escapism. Yeah. So, RPG mugger mindset. Dimin's is definitely not wrong there. Ayoon, good to see you, glad to have you. I think you enjoy Crusader Kings if you like fiction and politics. So my point is more that So, like, I like Crusader Kings, fine. But, like, my point is less that I like fiction and politics. My point is I think that saying something is a political... Like, political intrigue as a primary focus and topic within a narrative is something to, like in specificity. But my point is more broadly that any narrative medium can engage with the human condition, and that there is a value to that, and I value that as a thing rather than necessarily the specific need for politics. Like the specific need for a political intrigue in a conventional sense. Also, I also bulk like also liking fiction because like I understand the distinction of needing to have fiction and nonfiction for the difference between autobiography, history, but like. I would never describe myself as just liking fiction because I would say I like narrative because to me, narrative is not bound to being fictional or nonfiction because even nonfiction is still narrative. You construct something as a text is to create narrative. We kill chaos! Chaos! Yes, everyone knows Jack Garland is clearly reflects most the spirit of the human condition. We should go back to the days when fiction wasn't political. We should go back to the days when politics wasn't so political. Fiction, Shakespeare during the King James I in 90% of his plays. Dunking on King James I. Yeah. Fiction has always been political. Yeah. Lady, good to see you. Glad to have you. I'm very excited you're here. Are you supposed to tell a story without the drama? Yeah, well, and I guess, like, also, I have some, like, druthers and, like, specific conventions, like, that I've always bulked against. Like, denoting, like, using melodrama as a pejorative irks me quite a lot. Fiction has been political since the friggin' Odyssey. No, fiction has been political since society has existed. Like... Narrative has always been an extension of humans to be able to contend with, and deal with the human condition. Like, that has always been true. Like, the verse stories, that's true. That's why it was about, some of the first stories that we know of are understanding the natural world as a byproduct of understanding your role and place within it. I mean, yeah. I like Crusader Kings, but I like making my particular colored blob grow like a slime monster. How's the stream going? Stream's going good. Stream's going good. I mean, tons of nursery rhymes have hidden meanings, taking jabs at people in power at the time. Yeah, narrative is all fiction. History is some of the most fictional. Yeah, I think that's true. Angie, good to see you. Glad to have you. It's just as infinitely. I will gladly talk to the end of days about narrative, about the use of it, about its function, and also I will vehemently and rigorously and harshly push back against anyone who treats fiction as somehow inherently escapism. I just think it's utter horseshit. I think the only thing, vacuousness is escapism. To not contend with the world whatsoever is escapism. But to retreat from the world in so much that you can engage with something else so that you can better contend with the world is not escapism to me. That is responsibility. That is deepening your Chili, good to see you. Glad to have you. What is history but gossip persevere? What is history but gossip persevering? That's pretty fucking good. Many stories are in reality parodies. I mean, it depends on how you want to define parody, though, too. Like, because parody is an intentional homage and countervening of a specific thing. Whereas I think I would say that most narrative, many stories, most narrative is reflection. Now, I don't think that means most things are allegory, because allegory is to be, this thing is this thing. This thing is an allegory for this thing. It's a one-to-one, you know, like Aslan in C.S. Lewis is an allegory for Jesus. Like, that just stated that is the case. Like, but nothing in Lord of the Rings is an allegory. It is a reflection of the many inspirations, things that affected Tolkien that, you know, narrative and how you construct it can be a byproduct of many things, both intentional and unintentional. But just because something is resonant with something or seems reflective of or connective to something does not mean that that thing is allegorically the same thing. So, like, the ring is not a metaphor. The ring is not a metaphor for nuclear weapons. Instead, it is tied to, like, power and the ideas of power and desire that is connected to the human spirit and the desire to do good with power, more broadly. So I don't know how we got on the subject. I gotta get back to the MSQ. You beat him like it was nothing. Thal's almighty, what are we gonna do now? Hope folk are well. I'm still dealing with frickin' COVID fatigue, which frickin' sucks. It's like when I'm awake, it sucks. But like when I'm trying to get up, it's a nightmare. But otherwise, I'm doing well, Chili. I hope you're doing well too. Fiction's been political since the Epic of Gilgamesh. Yeah, I mean, like the thing is that like anything that is not vacuous is, right? Immortalizing Becky being such a bitch is the history books. Shoes. Let's get some shoes. Can't wait for Ishgard gossip next expansion. Yeah, Ishgard history is yeah. Like Tolkien. I also say allegories always makes my eyes dry. Nose run. It's worse in the spring and fall. Lord of the Rings has no deeper messages about the boys TM going on a road trip, meeting several rude dudes along the way. Okay, that I can't agree with. Lord of the Rings has many deeper messages. Those messages are just not. I disagree that a message, if in terms of this is supposed to be this is what I'm trying to say. Yes, Tolkien definitely would, I think, agree with that. There's literally one of his notes that does. But I think that we have to be careful because to say no deeper message, I think, especially when you use that colloquially in modern times, implies to people that it is something vacuous, something that it doesn't have incredibly deep meaning and reflective ability for the world and narrative in itself. So I would be loath to say Lord of the Ring has no deeper message, even if in a technical sense that was a certain it has the spirit of many messages of the human condition tied intrinsically into it, even if those things are not things for which are set out to be made hyper explicit with an intended agenda. Join our YouTube channel. Hit the join button next to the subscribe button to become an Archon. The more members we have, the more emojis we get. You want more of Ray Ray, don't you? Shoes. Shoes. Let's get some shoes. I did my college thesis on Tolkien. I was just being a little scamp. Yeah, don't worry. Don't mind me, Demins. I just, I think Tolkien is an incredibly... It's not even just Tolkien's works. It's just Tolkien as a... and his many, I think Tolkien's a really useful touchstone for talking about modern narrative. Follow us on Twitter for interesting content. Yup, good. Yup, it's Purple. Good to see you. Glad to have you. You returned. Did you find my brethren? You returned. Did you find my brethren? What are the twins? What happened? I see. Well, you had no choice. Better than a handful of them taking a beating from you than the lot get butchered by the flames. Tell me, what did the merchant have to say when it was over? But where else could he be? Unless he went to Stone's Throw to recruit others? The terrified refugees. Blah, 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 blah. The merchant wished to approach the refugees in Stone Throw, but was waiting until the flames withdrew their forces from the vicinity. Now that they have, there's nothing to stop him from continuing his work. How many more perished in pursuit of his futile cause? How much more suffering must we endure before it ends? Find him. Convince him to cease his mad quest. It will surely lead us to ruin. Holy pink chocobo. What about holy pink chocobos? Could have used those eagles to just rob the ring. Well, okay, so no, you couldn't. So there's like 12 reasons. Okay, sorry, this is also a thing that I've... One, the eagles are not of man, and they are of a different Valar. Like, the eagles don't just do what people want. The fact that, like, the eagles saved Gandalf is, like, lucky and only because they like Gandalf. And they... Two, Mordor is protected, not just by Sauron, but by leagues of, not only are the gases of the skies protective against the eagles, but literally the men and weapons upon the ground could easily take the eagles out of the air. Like, there's like 1,200 reasons in Tolkien's Legendarium why you couldn't have just dropped things in with the eagle, and why only after the destruction of the ring do they come. If you want to get me going, that, you know, like, talking about Tolkienian lore. Currently in the process of doing all the AR side quests. I'm now doing like 40 quests in Kurthus. Nice. At some point I need to sit down and we'll stream me doing the side quest for the problem is just time. The leaders of Eagles own Gandalf for saving him, if I remember. Yeah, basically. But also, like, Gandalf is still like, thanks very much! And he literally didn't, he only asked them to, like, take him so far, and the Eagles like, okay, yeah. And then on top of that, you also have, like, when the Eagles help out in the Hobbit, like, the Eagles are not a delivery service. Oh, thank you. My roommate just brought me food. Thank you so much.
Don't call me an eagle.
She just said, don't call her an eagle. I did that recently. Purple got some amazing lore tidbits. Oh my god, there's so many amazing lore tidbits in the side quest. The leader, yeah. I can't argue about anything Lord of the Rings related because all 3 films I watched sadly got erased from my mind. Rip. Well, lady, yeah. Maybe we'll watch it as a group sometime.
Have you seen my parents?
Can't say I have.
They told me to stay here with the others. They said they'd be back soon, but it's been days. They left with the man from Ul'dah. The man said they were gonna change everything. Make it so we could live inside the walls with everyone else. I liked it when he said that. I don't like it when he talked about making the rich people pay. Everyone looked so angry and I got scared. Say, mister, are you looking for someone? You mean the man who left with my parents? But I don't know where he...
Instead of Lord of the Rings Trilogy Marathon, let's go. I mean, we could do that. I'm currently rewatching with my roommate. But each watching of the movie takes about 5 hours instead of 3 because we like pause it constantly and are talking about, because like I worked in props and cosplay and stuff and in film. Plus I know a lot about the filmmaking process, and I know a lot about Lord of the Rings and Tolkien, and I know a lot about the Lord of the Rings movies as well and their process of creation. So we talk for like literally add like 2 hours onto each film.
Wait, look over there. I think that's him.
Well now, which of these gullible fools shall be my next victim? I'm gonna kick some ass. I Dip.
He's getting away. Go get him, mister.
Give us Lord of the Rings Elio's director cut 18 hours with pee breaks. I'll do it. Like if we, you know what? I would do a 24-hour marathon for like on Twitch for like do a subathon or something. For just doing 18 hours of Lord of the Rings, and we just talk about that. We start out and I just start going off about the Hydaelyn delay. We start talking about the trees of the Valar and you know the torches. We going on talking about Melkor. Like, you don't even fucking know. Like, if you think the Lord of the Rings is epic, man, could I tell you about the War of Wrath? Like, man, you think Aragorn and Eowyn are good. Let me get you going about the Lay of Beren and Luthien. I'm just saying. Like, dude, the Fall of Gondolin. Speaking of delivery service, Uber Eats by Eagles. There are enough battle bikinis in Lord of the Rings. Of course, Ray. And even then I can think they only go so far. Extended Lord of the Rings trilogy marathon? Yeah, I would like to hear more Tolkien stuff, please. Yeah, I can talk Tolkien sometime. Isn't that like 14 hours uncut? 3.5. No, it's more like 10 and a half. If the extended editions, I think you're looking at about 3 hours, 3:30, 3:40 per. So you're looking at about 11 hours. Oh, or sorry, not 11 hours. Yeah, 11 hours. About 11 hours. I love loudly talking to myself about evil plans while walking next to erstwhile heroes. Me too, Demins. Tattle, good to see you. Glad to have you. I thought I was joking. Yeah, no, don't joke to me about shit like that. I'll do it. I'd totally be up for that. I mean, is Lord of the Rings on Amazon Prime? It's on HBO. Going into 12-hour tangent about Tom fucking Bombadil. Well, I mean, like, Tom fucking Bombadil you can do in, like, 20 minutes. Like, Tom fucking Bombadil... Like, the thing is we don't know if he could just be a Maya, but the fact of the matter is that we don't know where Tom comes from. And the fact that the ring has no sway over him Now, it may just be that it's because Gandalf is as a Maya, it's because he's incarnated that the ring can affect him. But if he was not to be incarnated, it would have no sway over him. But the fact that like, even as an inordinately powerful Maya, Tom would be weird. And so, like, there's almost a quandary as to whether or not he's something outside of the Song of Creation in and of itself. And the fact of the matter is we know that things like Ungoliant, right? And some other things almost seem to have come from the void beyond and beyond the Hydaelyn. And so Tom Bombadil, if you think about it, could be of the same kind and spirit of something beyond the song. However, that makes it really weird, especially you think about Goldberry and stuff. Yeah. Ooh, I joined a Silmarillion lore. Yay, Chris, good to see you, glad to have you. I would love to do that. Fuck, man, it's been so long since I've read the Silmarillion. Yeah, we can definitely sit down and talk about that. Also, can we just talk about how fucking, okay, just like in Lord of the Rings, if you don't know the broader context to the fucking world, and you only know like about the Third Age, the fact that Galadriel gives 3 hairs of her head to Gimli is so fucking good. Like, it's so amazing, but also is the most trolly-ass move in fiction. Like, the most trolly move in all of fiction is for Galadriel, who literally started major wars and conflicts because she would not give her affections to certain people, gave to a dwarf 3 hairs from her head. Just like, mwah, just chef's kiss level of trolling. But on top of that, the fact that not only that the vial that she gives Frodo is the light of Arendelle, is the light of holds within it the light of the Silmarils. They are still warned like of importance onto the Third Age, into this conflict. Like the light of the trees made its way all the way from them into the Silmarils, into this vial, like, as a function of time in Tolkien's works, magic diminishes, grandeur diminishes, epicness diminishes, and you can see it literally from the trees to the Silmarils to this vial, and yet its importance is so perfect. Ugh. Okay, I'm going back to game. I would love to do that. I mean, watching go off on Lord of the Rings. Good, go check. Damn, only reason I suggest Amazon is because I can stream Prime videos on Twitch. I mean, like, I can stream it, so like that's not a problem. Tom is just a weird little guy with a hot wife who subsists on good vibes. It's true. It's true. I always figured he was from the outside the song. I mean, like, being outside the song is really weird, and there's only possible things to suggest it, and the only things that would exist outside the song would be primarily things of the shadow, of the void, and therefore would be weird that Tom would come from it, but he could just be a fey spirit of nature embodied in and of itself, and so his nature, to me, implies that he should be of the song, but he's just weird. Yeah. Well, I wish I had known you for when I went to the Gollum event. Yeah, the hair was amazing. Yeah. Just a huge feud to Feanor. Yep. She did that to absolutely fuck with people. It's true! I'm just enjoying there talking about things you're passionate about. Yeah, I can talk endlessly about things I'm passionate about. Agreed. Yeah. Tom Bombadil is Eru Iluvatar on vacation till Dagoroth in this video. Okay, for those of you who are confused about it, Eru Iluvatar is like the original progenitor god. The Dagoroth is basically the apocalypse. It is the battle at the end of time, when I believe Melkor will return through the Gate of Night. I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Demins, but so like, that's very funny. Some say there is no Hrothgar woman. They just pop out of holes in the ground. Very good, Des. Very good. Ah, yes, I see you speaking my language. Shall I start speaking in Sindarin? Sadly, I don't know much in Sindarin. Please explain why the mouth of the volcano wasn't guarded by the orcs. I can explain that very easily, actually. Okay, I'm gonna finish this up. I'm gonna get to a point where I can eat real quick, and then we'll take a second to stop and talk about this. Apparently, this is gonna be a Lord of the Rings streaming episode. For those of you who don't care, feel free to skip ahead. For those of you who are watching after the fact, feel free to skip ahead. For those of you who do, thank you. You again, why are you pursuing me? Seditious treason, revolution, that's preposterous. Who has filled your head with these lies? Refugees? These are the same refugees who terrorize the streets of Ul'dah. Ha! You have no evidence to prove your accusations. None! I've got a giant axe I can hit you with. No, I will not accompany you to the Hall of Flames. You have no right to detain me. I got an axe, bitch! For the sake of argument, let us say I did do the things you claim. Surely you don't think I'd give Curran's arse about politics. It was business, only business. And to anyone who ever does that, go fuck yourself. No, if you choose to take a stand, you're making a stand. You choose your actions. There is no just business. What you're doing can be good business and immoral, but it still is. You don't get to rescind yourself from your actions. It's like saying, like, oh, I'm self-aware, but not change your actions. It's like... Oh, this was the point you were talking about with the archer earlier. We both know I'm not the one you want. However, if you agree to protect me, I swear I shall tell you everything. Oh, good shot. My axe is more than enough evidence. Yep. People think Hroth women don't exist, but it's just the beards. What's all the commotion?
7 hells! Tell the others to spread out and search the area. The killer may still be close.
I wonder if you're a bard. If you were a bard, I wonder if they would, like, say something.
Ooh, my sternum.
Oh boy, the consequences of my actions. I spent a lot of time in college reading the Silmarillion and the other Tolkien letters for the stupid thesis. It's mostly gone now, but I retained just enough information to make me funny to Lord of the Ring nerds. It's been a long time since I've read the Silmarillion. But I love, like, going on rants about Tolkien, so.
Hold! Adventurer! I would know more about the relationship with the victim as well as the events leading up to his death.
Stupid storm, my power went out as I was catching a fish. Oh, I'm sorry, Chris.
The man was responsible for the recent riots. Mayhap we owe his murderer to debt of gratitude. In any case, it is obvious that you are not the one who we seek. You may carry on with your investigation, Scion.
Local Limsa man threatens man with axe to make his dog immortal. Okay, now for the orcs. So there's important things going on here. One of which is that there's an important repeated motif and theme and idea, and that is in Tolkien's work, which is that evil is self-destructive. That is important. That is important to understand. Part of it, the other thing, and also evil is overconfidence, is conceited, is overambitious, is desirous. So one, Sauron's not thinking, yes, they're going to send Frodo and crew. They're going to send some hobbits into the midst of my lands to toss, he can't conceive of the idea, one, that would be the plan. Two, remember that as far as he's concerned, if a mortal has the ring, they're fucked. The ring's got them and has ensnared them. So in Sauron's mind, he doesn't need to worry about it. He also thinks that the most likely candidate for the person to have the ring is for Aragorn, and for him to be charging the gate to buy Frodo time. Sauron's not aware of that. That's exactly what's going on. Sauron's like, okay, I've got this. The king is probably going to be using the ring to try and fight me, and this is my grandest victory, of course. Sauron lacks the imagination of creation strong enough to be able to think, yes, the good guys are going to try and destroy the ring, first off. And also, to think I even need to defend my seat of power. So there's a lot of reasons that make a lot of sense for especially with Tolkien's themes, why the Tolkienian themes, why there would be no orcs guarding the entrance. I'm also concerned about losing power. Oh no, the storm will go around my area, won't hit us, immediately gets downpours and severe thunder. Oh, I'm sorry guys, that sucks.
What news, Elio? Where's the merchant?
Murdered? Damn it all to the 7th hell. He was not simply murdered, Elio, he was silenced. Too many knew his face, and he was ready to divulge his secrets. Do not despair, though. We may be closer to identifying the true orchestrator of these riots than you realize. The Flame General left word that you were to proceed to the Fragrant Chamber as soon as you return. He wishes to discuss your recent discoveries as well as the results of our own investigation. Master Alphino has already been informed and should be waiting for you outside. Pray, proceed to the Royal Promenade with all haste and speak with Bartholomew. Alchemist or Promenade. I will say, as much as like I guess I would fear also running like losing power, I wish I had storms here. I wish I just stormed every day. It helps me like be alert and awake and like. Oh, Deadpool, are you okay, bud? Deadpool, come here. Come here. Sorry about that. Deadpool was feeling unwell. Yeah, Deadpool's okay. He just was yeah, he was just throwing up. Okay, you guys can probably see that. Let me go clean that up. For those of you with weak summons, I'll be right back. It was a fuck ton of throw up. No, I could use help. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Pupper's good. He seems completely fine. He just started throwing up out of nowhere, very randomly. It was very weird. Elliot, come back looking absolutely shell-shocked. Yeah, I was like, I was very confused. I just turn around and I just see Deadpool, like, looking fine, but also this, like, okay, if you don't like disgusting, an enormous pile of vomit, just like the size of the dog's head. I was like, where did that come from? I don't think you ate that much food. So. I've never seen him do that before. Oh, Chrissy, thank you for joining Archon. Sorry, I'm very, very late to responding. I hope you enjoy the emotes. Thank you, everyone, for your well wishes for Deadpool. The amount that you guys are all just like immediately like Deadpool must be protected and he is the most precious thing. Like clear. Elio, whatever, but Deadpool. Which I get. That happens to my cat sometimes. I get worried about that. Well, I hope it won't happen again. Maybe something was in the food. No, he eats the same food as always. The pup must be protected at all costs. It's true. It's true. The pup must be protected. Elio, take him or leave him. But Deadpool is forever. Keep an eye out if he starts eating grass. It's a sign that there may be something wrong and he's trying to make himself throw up. Yeah, the thing is he loves eating vegetation. And like he doesn't eat grass, but he does eat vegetation. When he gets more hungry. And so it may be just that he ate some of that. Any pet is precious and must be protected. That's true. I remember my own dog got sick sick once because some plants next to the house were dropping berries of our own yard that made him sick. Yeah, that may have happened because he loves to like be a goat and like graze, but I didn't see anything like that in the throw up, so I don't know. We've been expecting you, sir. Please proceed inside. Paws cross my wee cat, Kevin. He's been missing for nearly a month. I hope he comes back, Chrissy. I'm sorry.
Strides towards quelling the violence.
Despite our best efforts to determine what provoked this uprising, the truth continues to elude us. Have you uncovered aught which might shed some light on the mystery?
This information does not leave this room. The Syndicate's decision to reject the Doman refugees' appeal for asylum had lasting repercussions. A number of those displaced by the calamity claimed it was proof of a policy of discrimination. Together with a group of Alamegan refugees, they organized a series of demonstrations to protest against the Sultanate. Demonstrations which became heated, but did not descend into violence. Until a certain incident served as a call to arms.
A unit of brass blades sent to supervise a demonstration loosed arrows upon unarmed protesters. It was this atrocity which prompted the refugees to take up arms. I need not tell you what followed.
We assumed at first that the attack was born of a miscommunication. When emotions run high, they happen. But suspicions were raised regarding the unit's commanding officer, whom I ordered interrogated. Sure enough, our fears were soon confirmed. The dog confessed that a merchant had offered him coin to give the order. A merchant in the employ of FFXIV.
FFXIV. But he spoke in favor of the Doman's cause, and has ever seemed sympathetic towards the refugees' plight. Why would he do such a thing?
Know you of the Cartano Reclamation Bill?
Night, lady.
It is a proposal to annex the Cartano Flats so that refugees may establish permanent settlements.
When last I looked, that was disputed territory.
Aye. Some might even call it a battlefield.
Literally, PvP becomes important plot-wise.
The destruction wrought by Bahamut was greatest at the Cartano Flats. That much is common knowledge. What is less well known is that his rampage laid bare ancient Allagan ruins, of which no record existed. There are certain differences of opinion as to how these ruins should be handled, which is why each nation maintains a military presence in the region to this day. Yet differ though we may, we are still allies. Therefore, in the interest of preserving the Eorzean alliance, we have reached an agreement. Any conflict which may arise during the course of military exercises
Forgive me eating
in the region
fast.
shall have no bearing on relations between our nations. In full knowledge of this delicate state of affairs, Hydaelyn proposed the Cartano Reclamation Bill. A shameless bloody ruse which stands to benefit him in but one conceivable way. If successful, he will gain control over the disputed territory under the guise of assisting in the resettlement effort. And you can be sure he'll build an orphanage next to every Allagan ruin.
The man would threaten the unity of the Eorzean alliance and risk countless lives for personal gain.
He walks a path all his own, independent of any faction and beholden to none of his fellows on the Syndicate.
By inciting the less fortunate to violence, he hopes to convince others that the Cartano Reclamation Bill is the only viable solution. His sympathy for the plight of the Domans was not but posturing to gain credibility with the refugees. Of that there can be no doubt.
Forgive me, but what could possibly motivate Hydaelyn to go to such lengths? What is so special about these ruins that he would risk his position on the Syndicate, and, most likely, charges of treason against the Sultanate?
Omega.
Pardon?
I forgot that they literally mentioned Omega
An
this
Allagan
early.
monstrosity, not unlike the Ultima weapon. Mayhap larger, we know not. It has yet to be fully excavated. Allagan inscriptions indicate that it was created to fell Bahamut himself. If accurate, it might explain why Nail Van Darnus chose to bring the Red Moon down upon the Cartano Flats.
It's so crazy
Given
that
the
Omega
ends
gets
he
set up
went
this
to
early.
ensure Eorzea's annihilation, destroying the one weapon which could stay the Elder Primal may well have seemed like good sense.
It's interesting because that
When first I bore
speculation.
witness to the power of the Ultima weapon, I doubted the evidence of my senses. And now you tell me...
Aye, we were skeptical ourselves. Truth be told, until the Ultima weapon's existence came to light, we thought the inscription had been mistranslated.
It's interesting because, like, that's an interesting justification, but we know ultimately it's probably the ley lines were the reason for it. About to PvP them nuggies from you, bro. Yep. Hydaelyn. I hope Hydaelyn has an unfortunate accident at his next haircut appointment that inexplicably makes him about half as tall as he is now. Y'all want those nuggets so bad. Yeah, Deadpool's very good. Yeah, Sam Riegel is usually great, but he makes Alphino sound like he's 40. Yeah, I think Sam Riegel's Alphino is fine. I do actually think his Alphino is okay. I think especially he's okay because he's the condescending. He sounds more condescending. But I do agree that he sounds too old. But, yeah, Sam Riegel's a great voice actor. The problem is not... a lot of these voice actors are great voice actors. But they just... And they improve drastically in 2.x compared to 2.0. Gonna be in and out of lurk mode, go things for about an hour. Yeah, thanks for Aurora.
At present, Omega is more akin to a fossil than a tool of war, having long since ceased to function. As such, its true potential cannot accurately be gauged. However, if someone were to restore it, as the Garleans did the Ultima weapon, I have little doubt that he would wield untold power.
Power enough to subjugate Uldar like as not, and the rest of Eorzea besides, which is doubtless why Hydaelyn yearns to have it.
That he should aspire to world domination. He who has ever walked 2 paces behind Lord Lolorito in matters of commerce.
I mean, even Nanamo's voice actress is way better in 2.x than 2.0.
That he seeks this power. Woe betide us all should we allow him to have it.
Pray waste no time chasing rats. Only a fool would believe that secrets can be kept in Uldar.
It would seem the implications of the Sultanate's refugee problem are rather more far-reaching than we assumed.
I do think that in pretty much all cases, the Heaven's Word on voice actors are a major improvement, though. I haven't done Omega in a while. Did he really crash in Eorzea way back during the Elgin Empire? Yeah, he crashed. He crashed post Midgard Summer's arrival on Eorzea. Omega crash landed, I believe, during the 3rd Astral Era. Though technically could have arrived anytime from the 1st or 2nd, but I believe 3rd is when we're told. I should be glad to know the truth, and yet the thought that all this chaos was the product of one man's lust for power sickens me. How long do you think they intend to hide the existence of Omega from the Scions? That they even felt the need to do so is most troubling. It would be in our best interest to learn more of the military activities in the disputed territories. Fortunately, you are already well positioned to do so, Private Forcheron. Pray, keep us informed of any developments in Cartnow. Begone, whelp! This is no place for children. I'm sorry. I was looking for you, mister. You said you were looking for the man who left my parents. You know this girl? So he visited Stone's Throw as well, I see. Did you find the man? Were my parents with him? They were not, I'm afraid. However, I can think of several places they might be. If you like, we can go and look for them together. Really? You'll help me look, mister? Of course, but first I must needs finish speaking with my friend. He's telling me a secret, you see, so no one else is allowed to listen. Mayhap you could wait for me by the pillar over there. We require but a moment. Okay, mister, I'll be waiting. I mean, to be fair, they are, like, their role is to keep things safe, and the thing is that the tensions are high, and right now also, the thing is that kids are used as potent weapons and can be used in Uldar, as well as like people gleaning in and listening to secrets, and for yeah. So I heard Sam Riegel's several anime before this, so it was nice to hear a familiar voice. Yeah, it was familiar, so that was one of the reasons I kind of appreciated it when I first started playing. So this is 2.3 patch story, right? Yes. Does that mean the Frontline came out in 2.3? I think Frontline came out before 2.3. But that stuff. But the plot stuff for this got set up. Frontline came out. No, it was first added in 2.3. No, it was. I thought it was 2.2, but I thought it was 2.1 or 2.2. But no, it's 2.3. Yeah, it is 2.3. Crazy. The brave noble Sultasworn. Yeah, he woke me up on the wrong side of the bed that day. Yeah, I know. I wouldn't last a day as a guard because I would buy every sympathetic sob story I heard. This is why you become a free paladin instead. Yes. I'll take her to the quicksand. Mayhap Momodi will know what to do. A legion of Garleans and an aether-starred primal. Even dealing with an Ascian would be preferable to this charade. Sometimes I fear Minfilia is too ambitious. We rush hither and yon in response to threats as they arise, without concern for the strain it places on our limited resources, and ourselves. Mayhap the time has come for a change. Elio, this is Minfilia. I know this is sudden, but I must ask you to return to Revenant's Toll with all due haste. The situation in the Twelveswood has taken a turn for the worse. I will explain in detail once you arrive. Since we can now technically time... No, okay, whoa, yeah. So... I'm gonna have to delete. Well, no, that's fine. So, we can't time travel. There are 3 instances of time travel in Final Fantasy XIV, and all of them work under very, very specific and fixed rules. And they are not willy-nilly done. So no, we cannot time travel. Go, Elio. You know as well as I the appearance of Primal takes precedent. Oh, and when you arrive, do inform the antecedent that I am grateful for her concern. She needn't fear for my safety. I am more than capable of protecting myself. Yeah, just remember, that's okay because it's not, you didn't get specific about it, but just, be very careful about spoilers. But yeah, there are very specific and finite examples of time travel in Final Fantasy XIV, and they operate under very specific rules, none of which will allow for their rampant use. Could we see it again? Potentially, but no, we can't just, time travel. We can't, we don't have the ability to just, easily be snap our fingers, we can time travel. There is fixed loop time travel that exists, that is never will be able to happen again. There is branch theory time travel, which is fixed branch theory in that, in how it functions, because in order for it to happen, it must be a fixed loop as well. So that's also its own fixed loop potentially. And then the final one has been yet to see exactly what its ramifications are, if it's, will it ultimately be fixed loop or not. But even if it is, branch, the way in which we did it can no longer happen either. So the way that it happened in each cases is not replicable. So yeah, I don't and also that I would really not want that as a narrative, because also one of the major emphases on any time that time travel gets used is that things can be different, but they can't be better. And for instance, if you played Dragonsong Ultimate Reprise, if you've done that Ultimate, spoilers for Dragonsong Ultimate, I guess, at this point, but if you save a certain someone, things are a lot worse for it. So it's not, I think that going back in time and slapping the shit out of people who wronged us preemptively, or trying to affect things and make them different, is not a great idea. I am come on behalf of the Antecedent to petition the aid of your order. The Antecedent has been appraised of the situation. It is a relief to see you healthy and hale, Elio. The latest news from Ul'dah was most disturbing. Clearly, the only injury Alphino suffered was to his ego. Doubtless it will heal ere long. The other scions will need to be present for this meeting. If you are ready to begin, I will summon them now. Thank you for responding to my call with such haste. Rest assured, I should not have summoned you if it were not urgent. To business, then. I have received some most disturbing news from the Order of the Twin Adder. They have a reason to believe that the Sylphs may have called forth their revered guardian, the Primal Ramu. I'm sorry, may have, then it is not certain. The Elder Seedseer informs us that the elementals themselves murmur of the Lord of Levin's return to the forest. The Sylphlands, however, display no signs of undue commotion.
Forgive me, antecedent, but the facts need not contradict the elemental's testimony. Unlike his more bellicose peers, Garuda and so on, Ramu is reputed to act only in the defense of his children. I imagine he would soon make his presence known if any were foolish enough to directly endanger the sylphs of their territory. The abruptness of this development concerns me. Were we not keeping a close watch on the touched ones and their movements? If preparations for summoning the ritual were indeed underway, it would surely not have escaped your notice. Oh, it did! It was... oh, it didn't. It was pretty sure it was going to happen, just not this soon. I beg your pardon. You foresaw this eventuality and did not to prevent it? I told Papalymo, I suppose. I could have reported things to Menphilia earlier, but there honestly wasn't much we could do except wait and see. You know how the sylphs feel about people poking around in their territory. They already summoned Ramu once right after the calamity, but that was because the Garleans came trampling through the forest. And so long as the Castrum Orin stands, the sylphs cannot be blamed for wishing to have the guardian deity on hand. In short, Yida and I are in agreement. The actions of the forest folk were inevitable and unavoidable. And I maintain that the observations would have remained the best policy had it not been for the sudden influx of strangers into the Black Shroud. That, alas, we did not foresee. By all accounts, the recent violence in Ul'dah drove a number of refugees to seek safety under the concealing canopy of the trees. It is like the sylphs perceived this panicked migration as yet another invasion, and quickened their efforts to summon their god. I am put in mind of Titan and the kobolds. Once again, it is the affairs of man which have paved the way for Primal's coming. Indeed, one cannot help but wonder what manner of place Eorzea would be without the civilizing influence of mankind. Be that as it may, this regrettable development does not afford us a unique opportunity. Elio, though you are dealing with the sylphs of Little Solace, you once succeeded in preventing an untimely conflict with Gridania. I wonder, might one who treated with the sylphs so fruitfully in the past not achieve similar success with their patron deity? If Ramu can be convinced of our intentions, I may be the first to step to breaking the cycle of primal summoning. A fond hope. Were such a thing possible, we would not have been at war with the beastmen since time immemorial. But maybe this one we can. Let us continue this discussion anon. We must needs first consult with the nations most affected by Ramu's presence. The Elder Seedseer has requested your personal involvement, Elio. Pray, report to Commander Helio at the Adder's Nest as soon as you are able. Steel yourself for the worst. While I hope for a peaceful solution to this matter, experience suggests that your meeting with the Lord of Levin will prove less than amicable. In such an event, your fellow scions will of course lend you whatever support you require. I like Ramu. He's a bit prickly, but does only in defense instead of conquer. Yeah. Going back in time to warn our past selves to never accept an offer of beverage again. We know that if you go back in time and change things, though, it doesn't change your timeline. It just creates a branch, in terms of that. So that wouldn't really do much. And also, if that doesn't play out that way, you don't go to Ishgard. If you don't go to Ishgard, you don't, like, the thing is that if you change certain things that happen, things are probably ultimately worse for it. I gotta think Menphilia has a good chuckle at the line about Alfie. Yeah. And see, the thing is, we accept the drinks more out of courtesy than anything. Who says there isn't? I don't know what Ray was responding to, but yeah, now hiring food tasters in Ul'dah. I mean, there's a reason that food tasters were a thing in history. Look, I just want some version of my Warrior of Light to be happy. But that's the thing is, but like literally the thematic statement at the heart of this game though is that like part of being happy is also experiencing heartache and complication and adversity. And so like I would argue your Warrior of Light is absolutely happy. I think your Warrior of Light is textually, explicitly a happy person. But they also have gone through shit, and I don't think rescinding going through that shit would make them more happy. I think, I would very much hold to that. Ramu is one of the more interesting of the AR ones. Yeah, I mean, like, because he's the only one that really gets personified. Like, yeah, I mean, Magomag and, like, the others do get a little bit of personality, but, like, Ifrit's basic-ass bitch, Titan's Arnold Schwarzenegger, Garuda is... So...
you know, there's that. Mog, again, is Mog. Leviathan doesn't say or do much at all. Yeah. Well, okay, so Ramu and Shiva are the two interesting ones. They kind of almost get more interesting as they go along. Elio of the Scions, your arrival has been most anticipated. The appearance of a primal is ever cause for alarm and unease. Ow, my ears. Sorry, Chrissy. Though my men stand ready for any eventuality, I know none more qualified than you to snuff out this threat. Indeed, I would have you do so without delay. The Elder Seedseer, however, would speak with you first. She is of the opinion that your diplomatic, rather than martial skills, may better serve our cause. I will leave further explanation to our learned leader. Pray, make your way to Nofka's altar. The conjurer in attendance will admit you to the lotus stand. Oh my god, that laugh made me jump. Sorry, Angie. Shiva, yeah. Shiva's very interesting. Yeah, Ramu is half man, half all beard. It's true. He's more beard than man. Jump scare alert. Sorry, guys. I didn't think it was gonna be that traumatic for you. Who's Leviathan? Do you mean Levabetus? I love Shiva. Shiva's great. I love you still. Still advocating for a sitcom with the primals as all his roommates are in an office space. God, that would be good. Rejoice in the glory of tax reform. What's oh my god, I'm forgetting. Lakshmi out on a date, rest your weary head on my bosom. Shiva just stepping on people. Yeah, I don't know. The other Scions have arrived already, sir. May I show you in? Rejoice in the glory of getting out of paying over time. Gotta go make food now. I hope you enjoy it. It is said that once Ramu passes judgment, his wrath is implacable. It would be best to conclude that his discussion ere Gridania and its people are placed upon his scales. I see. The Sylphs have sent their own representative. There can be no doubt then. Whatever the Elder Seedseer is planning, I want you to know that it'll be all right. I'll be right there by your side, and I'm sure Y'shtola won't be far behind, even if she does think everything is mankind's fault. I am most curious to hear how the Elder Seedseer means to treat with Lord Ramu. Oh, hello, Walking One. It is good to see a friend of Elder One. Was Odin a primal?
Scions
yes,
of
though the sword is the primal, not Odin.
On behalf of the people of Gridania, I bid you welcome. Your presence is of great comfort to us all in these days of uncertainty.
Yeah.
I summoned you here to share tidings of a most urgent nature. But a short while ago, the great elemental spoke, and his voice was clarion in its intensity. Ramu is returned unto the forest. Scarce had his words ceased to echo in mine ears when we were visited by an emissary from Little Solace. Our guest informs us that the Sylphs too have sensed the presence of the Lord of Levin. Though his exact whereabouts remain unknown, we may safely assume that the primal was summoned within the heart of the Sylphlands.
No, not like Tsukiyomi.
Unlike
That's different.
the other primals you have encountered, Lord Ramu is no raging avatar of destruction. He is revered as much for his wisdom as his strength, serving as both arbiter and guardian to his children. Given that we and the Sylphs found a way to share the Twelves Wood, it is my hope that this sagely immortal will be amenable to reason, and that conflict may be avoided. Blessed as you are with the power of the Echo, you are one of the few among us who may commune with a primal without fear of influence. I would ask, therefore, that you represent us in this most delicate of negotiations. The Twelves Wood has suffered enough. Upon this, we and the Sylphs, and I would venture Lord Ramu himself, are in perfect accord. Let us not endanger our shared home by engaging in unnecessary hostilities. Dear friend, I beseech you, safeguard the peace which exists between our peoples. You have my thanks.
Over here not wanting to voice the selves.
Pray make for little solace, then. A member of the Order of the Twin Adder awaits you there. He will advise you on how to find the Lord of Levin. An
Seems they choose to
ill wind blows
voice.
through the forest. Yet, it is not only the Twelves Wood that flinches at its coming. All the lands of Eorzea shiver in dread anticipation. Have care.
Okay. Was Odin a Prime? Susanna would be the party guy who keeps dragging Ravonna to parties. It's true. Literally made this black card. Yeah, Odin Sword is a Prime. Okay, I didn't even know that. No, so Tsukuyomi's kind of like Shiva. That's the drawing of a primal form onto oneself. Odin is literally anyone who picks up the sword is tempered. Also, the sword is an extension of something to do with Eureka. So I'm not going to explain it in case you haven't played Eureka from Stormblood, but go play the Eureka content or watch the videos of the Eureka content to see precisely what's going on with Odin and to what's going on with the sword. But anyone who holds the sword basically is tempered by the sword. So the sword is the primal. With Tsukuyomi, it is Tsukuyomi who is the primal and the individual who brought the power of Tsukuyomi into himself. The same way that with Yaseo and Shiva. Somehow I don't think Ravonna would need to be dragged. He's starting bar fights at every opportunity. Yeah, honestly, I'm in agreement with that. Ifrit. All right, let's call this primal house meeting to order. First order of business. We had to drain the shower because someone shed a lot of hair. Everyone stares at Ramu. Ramu. Don't look at me. Shiva was the last one in the tub. Item number 2. We're still working on house training Bismarck, but we're not quite there yet. To be fair, Shiva does have that epic hair crown. Oh, I hate, like, the hair crown is such, like, I feel like it so off balances her design for me. Because, like, there's not enough wide, and she's, like, tall, skin, like, I'm not a fan of the hair crown. Too extra. Do the primals get to choose who to kick out of the house each week? Is it a game show? To be fair, Shiva, yeah, primals and Survivor, like, a scenario. God, I wish someone would draw that, that'd be funny. Elio of the Scions, I was told to expect you. I understand you got to treat with the primal Ramu himself as an unenviable task, but one for which I have no doubt you are well suited. I have been told that your fellow Scions are conducting an investigation of the area as we speak, that we might ascertain the location where the Lord of Levin might be found. I would ask that you abide here until they return with their findings. Remember that when we unlock Ramu, we're going to be doing that, so if you want to do the fight with Ramu, be ready to join the party. I liked her hair in FFX more. Yeah, FFX versus Shiva is my favorite design of her. I mean, no shit. Like, I love FFX, but like, it's not always my favorite design of every Aeon or every summon. But no, I think Final Fantasy X Shiva is by far my favorite Shiva. I do think 16 Shiva looks pretty fucking awesome. Oh my god, Primal Survivor with voting and everything. Yeah, Big Brother Primal would be rad as hell. It is Final Fantasy. The design has to be extra. Yes, okay, let me rephrase. It's not the extraness that is the problem. It is the aesthetic balance of it that is my problem. With camera confessionals and stuff. I'm imagining it keeping up with the Kardashian scenario where they're not an overarching plot, just shenanigans. Yeah. At the tea tree with my alt Kanya already. Sweet, thanks Aurora. I was told the messenger would be sent as soon as you fellow Scions finish the investigation. I do not imagine it will be much longer.
This one returns with good tidings. Wise One has finished searching and have wisely identified the precise location where the Touched One summons Lord Ramu.
Your timing is impeccable, my fluttery friend. Might you be so kind as to escort the good man to his fellow Scions?
It would be this one's pleasure. Walking One, please come with this one.
Not me also at the tree like, who are you people? Who are you people? We are on Levin and Oppression. I just want to see. We are on... Oh! This is it! This is literally the one where we unlock it. Okay, cool. Or would it be Real World Primal where they have to get jobs and stuff? Okay, but like Shiva working at Burger King. Or no, Shiva working at Dairy Queen, of course. Shiva works at Dairy Queen, like as a manager at Dairy Queen. That'd be pretty hysterical.
Wise ones have ventured deep, deep within Sylphlands. This one must proceed carefully and keep an eye out for touched ones.
Sri Lakshmi. Oh my god, I dropped my golden lotus in the pool. Shiva, there are people dying, Shri. Ramu, does someone mind explaining why we failed the OSHA safety inspection? Ifrit, is it because I set the inspector on fire? Ramu, of course it is, because you set him on fire.
Look, at least he only set the guy on fire rather than disconnecting the fire alarm. They did still have the fire alarms.
Titan would get job as a bouncer. Ramu would be a substitute teacher. Someone needs to like draw these. Needs to draw like these AU versions of all these characters, but like within these like job outfits. So like Titan as a bouncer, like Ramu as a substitute teacher, Shiva and like with like a Dairy Queen outfit. Honestly, Shiva, like a Dairy Queen Shiva shirt would be awesome.
This one is most sorry, but this one can go no further. Draw too close to Lord Ramu, and this one may turn mean and nasty like touch ones. And this one must say farewell for now. Walking one will find wise ones not far from here, to the south. Go in safety, walking one.
Sri Lakshmi would be a gossip columnist. Sri Lakshmi as like the sexy librarian. Sephiroth is just a gym bro. It's like a personal trainer. Sophia's into like an MLM or something.
So it's actually you! I am relieved. For a moment I thought we were dealing with another one of those confounded sylph tricksters. Oh! Did they get rid of that quest? Oh no! I swear, with them wreaking havoc with their skin-changing magic, it's a wonder I was able to finish taking my measurements. Yes, it was quite the ordeal. You should have seen the look on your Shola's face when the one impersonating you suddenly showed up.
That is quite enough, Papalymo.
My apologies, it's not like me to ramble so. At any rate, as I was saying, in the area, and I'm pleased to say I have reached an indisputable conclusion, to wit, that Ramu has called forth from the vicinity of the Sylph's Aetheryte. Come, Elio, the Lord of Levin awaits.
I guess they did. Oh my god, you guys went. I just finished drawing for the day, but you're giving me ideas. I really want to draw Shiva and DQQ. Aubrey, if you do that, I will put it up on my art board from art that people in the community draw. So, because I definitely want that. And hell, maybe if like after you draw that, if we could maybe potentially figure out something for merch or something. Titan is wearing a suit, but with the arms ripped off. Susano taking up with entire Burger King drive-through window. She'd always be the one with the cutaway where she just one-on-ones the camera. I wonder if tempering is only limited to humanoids. The amounts, anything with a soul can be tempered. The amounts, for example, were just regular birds, wolves, and horses. If it has a soul, it can be tempered, and therefore I would think that a beast. I totally forgot this was voiced. Flee from what you do not see. Some fucking gains, bro! Thank you, Jellybean. I totally think she'd be into MLMs, yep. Moogamog runs a Bitcoin scheme. Rejoice in the glory of a combo meal!
Thou art the bringer of light, bane of Ifrit, Titan, Garuda, and Leviathan. I am Ramu, guardian of the children of the forest. Thou tramplest upon sacred soil, bringer of light. By what right doth man intrude in this sanctuary of the sylphs?
Yo, we worried about shit.
Gridanians proffer peace? Their words are born of delusion, thine offer an insult. Thou speakest of harmony, yet carest naught for my children's desires. They did but wish to dwell beneath these boughs in solitude. Yet even that was too much to ask of man. Thus did they turn to me for succor. The sentence I pronounce upon thy kind is just. Gridanian or Garlean, it matters not. The good intent of one excuseth not the misdeeds of the other.
That's horseshit, because under that argument you should blame the sylphs then for everything the humans do. People should be responsible for their own
blame doth lie
shit.
with the darkness that resideth in the breast of man.
That's so horseshit to say, oh, someone else did something bad, so I'm going to punish you.
Whence sprung this calamitous seed? In the beginning no such duality existed. Were light and dark given form when man was born?
No.
It would explain much. Not least why strife and sorrow follow ever in thy wake. Thou canst not deny the urgings of thine own nature.
To be is to be of a duality.
Knowing that thy mere presence here portendeth tragedy, wilt thou persist in this pretense of peacemaking?
You betcha.
Thou bearest the crystal which I bestowed upon my wayward charges, that they should entrust so precious a gift to thee. Thou standest apart from thy kin. Thou art the bringer of light, aye, but there is something more in thee. Very well. I shall consider thy proposal, shouldst thou survive my trial. If thou wouldst champion the cause of harmony, I must have proof that thou art fit to play the role. Wither mine ire, and prove to me thereby that thou hast strength enough to stay the darkness which threateneth to consume thee. Yet if thou shouldst
Alexander.
be found wanting, know that all men shall perish in the storm of my judgment.
The willingness to punish innocents for the misdeeds of some is baffling to me.
Come to me, bringer of light. I shall await thee on the field of battle.
The idea that any one man should be representative of all of mankind at all times is...
Eorzean, it is rare indeed to find you so far from a tome.
The Lord of Levin himself. Never till this day had I looked upon his visage, save in painted renderings made faint by time. Ever shall this scene remain etched in my mind's eye. Beg pardon, my lady.
Beneath the goggles, or another goggles!
Research. If thou art resolved to face Lord Ramu, I would ask thy leave to observe the event.
Alright, let's catch up on you guys. Sophia, hi, are you interested in our new line of Tupperware? They're perfectly balanced, so you can stack up to 5 tall. That's good, Daddle. That's really good. We gotta do that again, Jellybean. Rejoice in the glory of a combo meal! Give me the Sephiroth Jazzercise videos, but all moves require you have 4 arms. I can see this is the next Final Fantasy XIV manga. Yep. Man, IDK why I'm such a Gridania simp. I love the Stealth Ramu and all the Forest stuff. I can't help it. It rules. Also, using Ramu's summon in 15 was always fun. It's true. It was a great summon in 15. I just love the sense of scale that the summons had in 15. The one thing 15 did phenomenally was scale. Yeah, I've never been the big forest guy. Like, it's just never been like my number one. Especially because I've always loved liminal spaces, those spaces between mankind and nature. And while yeah, I guess Gridania in a sense is that Gridania is trying to be of the forest in a way where I like the places truly between the two. I'm glad you like it. Beginning to think the god of the sylphs might be a bit biased in their favor. Just a tad. You know, like they have the school days manga where Alfie and Alice are students and the rest of the science are teachers. Yep. Look, Ramu, just because I feel an urge to eat a whole bag of shredded cheese in front of a fridge every night at 3 a.m. doesn't make me evil. No, but it does make you special. Show me you have the strength to bring peace. To be fair, that is a very Eorzean thing to do. Yes, it's not out of character, that's for sure. Do I have it unlocked? Oh, cool, I have it unlocked. Okay, we're meeting up at the tea tree. If you would like to join me for the striking tree. Ifrit dealing with a Karen by setting her on fire. Look, wouldn't we all? Ifrit has a fed-up customer support specialist. If you would like... Oh, I'm on the wrong server, that's why. Why am I on Zalera instead of... Why did I come to Zalera? I need to go to Curl. Back to my home. Yes, so we're meeting by the tea tree. If you would... That's interesting. Wait, I feel like I saw D and Jalali and stuff. I guess some of you guys you just happened to be on Zalera as well. Ah, look at all of you lovely all of you with jelly bean. I love it. Is this... Oh, that's the city. Okay. We are meeting here by the tea tree. If you would like to come join us, I'll give it 2 minutes. I'll go toss some trash real quick. I have ascended to become the shiniest of gobbies! The bestest little gobby is true. You traveled on accident when Deadpool threw up. Did I? Really? That's funny, Aaron. Are we not gonna have enough people? Oh, it's Sithis! Guys, I think I gotta get better soon. I gotta start putting out more content. We gotta get more viewers because otherwise we're not gonna have a full crew for doing the trials. So, still got another minute or so. I'm a dungeon, otherwise I would have joined. How long you got in your dungeon? Because I could go do, we could go do a quest real quick. So you want to be a blacksmith? You want to be an armorer? I would help, but light. I'm sorry, Koshek. Leaves of Swiftbridge. I'll go do that Leaves quest real quick. Seems to be variable, but we had to leave out people before. Yeah. Is Zalera on Crystal? Zalera is. We're on Crystal Curl. We are on Crystal Curl, but yes, we are on Crystal. Greetings, Aliel. Betaron has been most elusive in praise of your accomplishments. You ever considered putting your abilities to use for the Adventurers Guild by undertaking a guild leave or two? Guild leaves are by means by which we document requests for assistance from the citizenry prior to assigning them to adventurers possessed of necessary skills. From battlecraft leaves that require the extermination of monsters, to tradecraft lead that asks for the creation of goods. The tasks we term leave quests are many and varied in their nature. Should your interest be piqued, I suggest you make your way to Swiftperch and speak with Swigiskiff. He will be happy to set your feet on the path to completing your first leave quest. I have an alt I can hop on. Yeah, feel free to come on and join. I'm just gonna do these. That's gonna be culinarian. Yeah. Let's see if there's anything. We should. I need to do some of these blue quests anyways because I don't want to do them off stream, but like sometimes I want to have stuff unlocked. Oh hey, it's Ray 2. Out of the blue. Oh, that's how you begin out of blue. I always forget it's here. I always think it's gonna start in Ul'dah. Arcanists. I'm gonna be a fisher. Okay, I guess there's none over here, but let's pull up a journal. We go to Swiftperch. We'll unlock this real quick. Yeah, if you want to meet us up on Crystal Curl, go to the tea tree, and then I will invite you. We also are gonna need. Everyone was DPS other than me, so we're gonna need one more tank and 2 heals. Aye, greeting lads. My name's Swiskiff, and I am in charge of assigning local leave quests here at Swiftperch. Tomokri sent you my way, didn't she? Well then, let's get you started. Right after we see you've got the brass to overcome challenges you're likely to encounter around these parts. Take a look over the task outlined in this guild leave. You reckon you can handle it? Good to hear. Now, megalocrabs, they like to run off to their mates when they're feeling outmatched. If you don't want to find yourself armpits deep in snippers, then you'd best finish them quickly. I should make a video about the leave quests, what they are, and like the cards. Oh. I'm gonna leave. I'm gonna disband the party real quick, and then I'm just gonna do this. I can swap to a tank if needed. Yeah, we may need that. Switch to killer. Thanks, Tethys. Why do selves have a Ramu as god? Wouldn't Sephiroth make more sense? So Ramu, remember that they're not just beings of nature, they're also beings of lightning aspect and their like relationship with the 12s, what is important. Whereas the tree people of Mericidia are like tree people. You seem to have a little trouble, lad. There's a reward for your efforts. So Sephiroth isn't just about nature, it's also about the woods. And like the Sylph, while they're of nature, aren't just about the wood. I reckon you'll do just fine with the rest of me jobs. And there's always plenty to do here at Swiftperch, what with all the rebuilding and such. Be sure to make yourself useful. By the by, a sturdy venturer like yourself might want to look into guild tests. Have a word with Battle Warden Tiroro, and she'll give you the details. Don't you fret now, lad. I'll set her straight if she has any doubts about your ability. High or low? Ah.
Where travels quick in Swiftperch. Here to learn about the guild test, are we? What's the guild test? Why, it's the behest issued by the Adventurers Guild, savvy. When a certain task brought to the attention of the guild is a little too grand for a leave, but not grand enough for the grand company's involvement, they're deemed guild tests and sent to yours truly. But don't let that lack of grandeur fool you. The tasks are anything but simple. Most take place in tight quarters, and all require precision teamwork twixt you and your battlemates. And so what do you get in return for placing your neck on the Lopen block? Besides a beam and grin from Battle Warden Tiro? Fame, fortune, the usual. So I presume you'll be joining our next operation. Cool. Sweet. One blue quest down. One blue quest down. Back to the tea tree.
So the thing I would say is that like the sylphs like do have associations with lightning aspect and judgment and the world. Also, you know what? Sylphs have no writing language. The tribe spoke before the arrival of the Black Shroud's current inhabitants are all but lost. The only remaining passages found in songs sung and passed down by Sylph and Eldred, vestiges, however, of one former language. Old High Sylphic still exhibit themselves in the Sylphs' use of their adopted tongue. For example, the Sylphs do not employ traditional personal pronouns. Yeah. Sylphs are one of the few beast tribes to have effectively renounced their ancestral tongue in favor of the language of those who took refuge in their domain, namely the founders of Gridania. Since the settlers arrived, the Sylphs have spoken in Eorzean not only when communicating with the hero or the Eorzean, but even amongst themselves. As to why the race was so quick to give up what can be considered a part of their cultural heritage has puzzled scholars for decades. The one belief is that the Sylphs do not place such an importance on the past as most civilizations, choosing instead to take advantage of the opportunities that that the present offers. Quickly embracing the language of the outsiders ensured that invaders saw the Sylphs in favorable eyes and in turn protected them from any hostilities. Here, let me go to the tea tree real quick. There's another line that actually I think might help elucidate the Sylphs and why Ramu is their patron. Ray, are you able to join, or have you not gotten that far yet? Okay, final call. If you would like to join our group, come to the tea tree on Crystal Curl while I quickly pull up Origin Myth, come on, Titan. There we go, Sylph. There we go, Ramu. Lightning given sage form venerated by the Sylphs through, though depicted in legend as a wise and benevolent elder who harbors ancient secrets. Ramu is a merciful arbiter for those who would defile the sacred depths of the forest, striking down interlopers with fulminating bits of divine fury. Whilst Ramu is revered as the creator race of the Sylph, the appearance of his physical manifestations suggests that he is also a god of man. Some scholars even go so far as to claim that he and Rhalgr are one and the same, pointing to the Destroyer's command over lightning as evidence in the theory. We also get a little bit of evidence, I forgot about this, in Mist of the Realm, which means that I need to start replaying stuff. That it's quite possible that the Sylphs witnessed Rhalgr, or that possibly Rhalgr even did accidentally create the Sylphs through some... because, I mean, the fact that the Sylphs do not exist on the other reflections means that the Sylphs came about post-Sundering. So the fact that they worship Ramu may definitely be tied to, during one of the calamities, a Sylph bearing witness to Rhalgr and or the creation of the Sylphs in the first place onto prehistory or the First Astral Era. Can't join until you invite me. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that you were able to join, that you went. Oh, dang it, I went to Zalera. My theory is that lightning looks like a lot like root trees and they closed lightning as a god. Yeah, no, so I would suggest that there are other more explicit pieces of evidence. Shizu, are you coming? Also, you can always check up in the top corner to see what world I'm on. If you're coming, then we can have maybe Ray or something drop. I'm here. You're here. Where are you? Okay, so you're not here in the loading screen. What's your character name? I'm assuming that's it, but... Ray or Tethys, which one of you guys want me to... Oh, God, you're both the healers, so we're... Okay. Is someone else able to do healing? Or, I will say it's difficult to see what server you're on behind the Patreon role. That would be a difficult. Okay. Okay, cool, now we got 3 healers. Okay, cool. Can one of our healers... There we go. Cool. Let's do it. I hope I haven't forgotten how to do the light. I haven't done this on hard in forever. Only dragon and black mage on this character at the moment. Yeah, no worries. I will... So thank you, Justinian, for the reminder that there's the banner roll up top. By the way, if you want to be a patron and want to have your name in the stream and also get all sorts of other fun rewards, you can come join us on Patreon. What's interesting to me about the striking tree is that it's diegetically within the what? Diegetically. It is within the world, and I will prove it to you quickly. Especially the ties to the beard and being a magus and stuff. Like, the Ramu has always been theorized on multiple levels for multiple reasons to be connected to Rauger. And so it makes sense with what we learned from Mists of the Realm, the origins of creation. But so you can see the North Shroud over there. Let me think. So that's north, so that's west. Which, and if that's like what the North Shroud's supposed to be, that means that where we are geographically is north is to the west. So we're here. We should be somewhere around here. Now, because of how distant it is, we could also be somewhere like even further into the Sylphlands. But well, we would want to be parallel with this. So we'd still have to at least be in... Yeah. And the thing is, we don't see... I don't think we see the East Shroud particularly, or any other landmark. I mean, we could be high above... Oh, we could be high above in the trees in the East Shroud, I think. In the north in the East Shroud. That's what's going on. Okay. Cool. Thank you for bearing with me, all. Crazy, where's the third one? Man, it's been so long since I've done hard. There we go. But it fades. Okay, I don't know how. I've completely lost that far. Oh, come on. Oh, I got it in time. Okay. Oh, I see. They last longer. There we go. That's what I just had to wait until they actually pull up at the same time. Yeah, it is great music. Every time the cinematic plays, my partner acts like it's one of those screaming goats. Remember, stay out of the water if you don't have immunity. The battle shall decide thy fate. Canst thou weather mine awakened ire? Okay, there's 3. Rolling thunder, hear my cry! Oh, did someone grab? Make sure not to grab them if you don't need them. You guys gotta separate. not. Maybe one of you has to get Blind Lightning. I forget how you... I've never done it on DPS. Remember, you have to get a stack of 3 of those in order to use them. So if you're not going to get 3, don't take one. And if you're only going to grab 1, please don't take one. You okay, Jalali? Yeah, you need to grab 3 orbs in order to break it, yeah. But you guys don't pick up an orb if you are only going to get 1. You need to make sure there are 3 on the map, because you only have a limited amount of time. And on top of that, you need to make sure that you have to grab them in a row, and there have to be 3 on the map already. So now you can go and grab one. Now, it won't matter because we already did it. But, like, don't just... especially in Extreme, don't just run around and go grabbing an orb. Those are for specific people to have at specific times. And if you take one, you're wasting it, unless you're grabbing 3. Because if you pay attention to your debuffs, you only have 10 seconds after grabbing one to before it goes away.
I have taken thy measure, bringer of light. And I judge thee a worthy champion. The task of excising the sin that hath taken root in man's heart is thine. Shrink not from employing thy strength in service to the forest and the wider realm beyond. Like hungering shadows do the enemies of harmony gather, and meekness will but feed them. If man is to be
cheers, Eorzean. Have a good night.
It shall be by thy guiding light alone. Stray not from the path, for if thou dost, thy people shall be truly lost.
Thou hast slain the Lord of Levin. A regrettable act, but a necessary one.
Okay, so you do actually kill him. I forgot, like, you actually get slain. I mean, the only way that makes sense is if he does.
In witnessing thy struggle, a truth hath been revealed unto me. If I mistake not, it may yet prove a chink in the eternal armor of the Eorzeans. But let us conclude our present business. I shall expound upon my findings at the Rising Stones anon.
Good job, everyone. Good job. You know, it's been a while. We haven't been talking a bunch about this lately, which is actually kind of sad for the channel. Mostly probably because I haven't been posting a lot of lore videos. But does anyone have any lore questions or lore topics they want to talk about? Elio, you have returned. Dare I ask how Ramu received your visit? He challenged you to a test of arms. It is well then that you have some experience in such matters. The peoples of both Gridania and Little Solace will be relieved to hear that the Lord of Leven has accepted you as the warrior's champion of peace. You have performed a monumental duty this day, Elio. The Elder Seedseer must be informed of your deeds at once. The Elder Seedseer will wish to hear of your experiences firsthand. Pray, return to Gridania and make directly for Lotus Stand. The Conjurer at Nofka's altar will be expecting you. Fare you well, Elio. I mostly want to get into the nitty-gritty of Endwalker, but I'll have to wait till we get there. Well, I'll just have to hurry up and work hard to get there quicker than... I mean, if we're doing... If it's... Okay, so we've basically been doing, for the most part, patch content per. So if we do finish 2.3 today, that means 2.4 next time, 2.5 the time after that. So that's, 2 days after this to be able to get done with. And then it's going to be, 14 episodes to finish A Realm Reborn. So probably like 10 to 14 for finishing... to get through Heaven's Word. Yeah, I guess we got a bit until Endwalker, but we'll keep working on it. I'm excited to talk to you about it, Chris. Would volcanoes be in the domain of Ifrit or Titan? That's a good question. That's a really good question. Volcanoes being both earth and fire aspected, I guess you could really make a solid argument for either or. I would tend to, because of the association of mountains and earth with Titan. If I had to pick, I'd pick Titan. Especially, I would definitely pick Titan because of Ogomoro, right, obviously. So, like, literally his symbol is a volcanic mountain. So, yeah, I would definitely go Titan. Titan makes the most sense. I've been having a fun time revisiting old lore while watching. I replay on alt all the time, but it's nice to be able to absorb it while seeing other people's POV. Nice! Awesome, Shizu. Welcome back, honored Scion. We who know of your mission have been most anxious to see your return. The Elder Seedseer awaits you within. So, like, if we look at Ogomoro, right? That is a giant volcanic mountain, and literally Titan is supposed to be, like, the heart of the mountain, right? Whereas we see, like, desert and arid regions and that kind of fire associated with Ifrit, not just, like, magma. Where do sylphs come from? Is their origin tied to the elementals, or do they just happen to live in the Shroud? So they've lived in the Shroud before the elementals. I believe if what we get from... They've lived, or at least before the new denizens, so before the, a diminutive people who dwell deep within the Black Shroud. By and large, these woodland folk hold favorable relations with other races that become the common sight amongst the trade crystals established. Garly invasion of Black Shroud, however, has quickly soured the sylphs' view of outsiders. Society and culture. During the pollinating seasons, sylphs can produce bulb-like seeds from the flowers that bloom atop their heads, known as podlings. These bulbs are immature sylphs who have been taken deep within the Black Shroud and incubated in the fruits of the seed bed. The fleshy vegetation provides the podlings with all the warmth and nourishment they require, and when the bulb is sufficiently ripened, a new sylph will sprout from its casing. Young sylphs are raised by the race as a whole, the usual bond between parent and offspring almost entirely replaced by the deep sense of family within the overall community. We don't have anything hyper-specific. We have the origin myth for Ramu, but I can't read it because my copy is too deteriorated. But their reproduction asexually, combined with the fact that they exist in the world only in the source, and therefore must come post-sundering, means to me that they are, if not manufactured by something, a byproduct of the world and nature itself. Now, the fact that the worlds are relatively in line and that we see makes me think that they're probably specifically a byproduct of the period when the gods roamed the world, which also makes sense with some of their proclivities like Nafka or Ralger. So we don't know exactly where they come from. We just know that they've existed onto post-sundering but very early history. And they've lived in it, I believe, we just... where is the line? As the sylphs have no writing, the language the tribe spoke before the arrival of the Black Shroud's current inhabitants are all but lost. See, to me, now, okay, to be fair though, that only means that that could be in reference to like Gelmorans and like those of the 6th Astral Era. So it's possible that they didn't exist in the realm until sometime between the 1st and 5th. But that said, I would still think it likely that they would have existed on... So maybe not pre-elementals, especially with the elementals probably existing within the 12s would onto prehistory. But I would suspect that they exist to some... to an extent within the fact that the age of the myth around Ramu means to me that they've existed for at least a couple thousand years, which places them sometime in between the 1st and 4th would be weird. 4th would be really weird, especially post Ice Age. Maybe more like the 3rd Astral Era. You also have the you have Amdapor, obviously, so current inhabitants could also mean Amdapor, that's 5th. So definitely, and 4th again would be a weird astral era for them to have arrived in. So I would suspect that they existed onto pre-3rd Astral Era, but I can only confirm that they definitely existed pre-5th. Do a super chat. Make all those say weird shit in a silly voice and find our cosplay stream. We're doing a cosplay stream. You guys still need to decide on what we do. Maybe we should just do Eorzean. Eorzean cosplay stream? That'd be pretty fun. I could keep growing my hair out, grow out the thing, do the mutton chops. Yeah, I think maybe Eorzean. Unless you guys come up with something that's particularly funny or entertaining that you guys want, I think an Eorzean cosplay stream is where it's at. Make Elio cosplay Nashu. So this one time in Bard Camp, LFL fell in love with a cabbage. If the Elder Seatseer has the Lotus stand, what is its stand power? Its power is the world!
You are returned to us, dear friend, and none the worse for bearing the heavy burden which I did press upon you. Most glad am I of this.
Upside down unicorn.
I am informed that your efforts
I will
to
never not point it
negotiate a
out.
peace with Lord Ramu ended in conflict. Pray tell me, what befell? Ramu made trial of you? I fear there is truth to his claim. It is the darkness within us that attracts the darkness without.
It's obviously a cow. It has a horn.
Cows
don't have horn.
Follows man. For evidence, one need only look to the conflict brewing in Cartano, or to the rising flood of refugees. Our shared struggle against the Empire should have served to seal our union. Yet the ties which bind the Alliance strain under the weight of gross self-interest.
It's a summoner cow.
As the scars of the calamity begin to fade, so too does our sense of common purpose. Yet now is scarce the time to forget our shared responsibility. If this new-sprung realm is to survive beyond its infancy, it must needs be nurtured by all.
They do such a phenomenal job of making the peace that is found in...
must be as one. Yet I fear that dream is still far off.
Making this world feel so tentatively like standing on the precipice still, even after the 2.0.
On behalf of the people of Gridania and the elementals both, I thank you.
Yeah, they don't have a unicorn horn, This was my point. Yes, you are correct.
Full oft have I been compelled to look to you.
They don't have a single horn.
And offered all too little in return. As leader of this nation, I shall endeavor to prove a more worthy ally to your cause henceforth. Lord Ramu has departed, yet the keening of this ill wind grows no less insistent. Voices of the forest, pray speak and I shall listen. What unseen evil begets this unease in my heart?
God, I wish the role quests were voiced. I really would have loved to have the role quest voiced for Endwalker.
You should have seen Maxio when we got back to Little Solace. Grateful is an underestimate. I thought he was going to shake Papalymo's hand off. Thus ends another daunting mission, eh, Elio? I'd hoped Lord Ramu could be persuaded with words alone, but nonetheless, I can only admire the adoredness with which you responded to the primal sudden challenge. And it seems that Urianger too was pleased with the outcome. What say you, Elio? Shall we gather back at the Rising Stones and ponder the lessons of the day? I fancy my presence was more help than a hindrance during our troubles with Leviathan, but this time around, well, even I have my off days. 'Twould seem that Yida's appraisal of the situation had held some merit after all. Mayhap I should not be so swift to discount her intuition. The first image, I should say. I looked up a unicorn cow, and I'm very pleased with the results. Most of you are likely too young for the Judy Tenuta reference. I have no idea who that is. I have zero idea who the heck that is. Sorry, Tethys, you're right. I am too young. Okay, Tethys, I'm the old man of the chat, and I still don't know who Judy Tenuta is. Who the heck is Judy Tenuta? American comedian. Did I see anything? No. I've never seen anything with her. Usually I at least recognize a name. Also, it's weird seeing someone from the someone who's famous during the 80s and or early 90s be considered like old school. Let's talk to the Wandering Missile. What was it? Dawn may banish even the darkest night, yet ever shall primal desires burn. Two swords shall vie to lay them low, a blade born of light and a blade forged of might. Alas, man may entrust his fate unto but one. Truly Archon Louisoix had gift with words. Had circumstances been different, he would have had made a magnificent minstrel. Where is the Y tribe based? I believe the note that I have on it states that they are... Oh, interesting. It just plays that. Primarily in Limpsa, if I'm not mistaken. Like, every example that we know of other than Ymitra, I believe, is in Lenosia. If I'm not mistaken. Let me check my notes real quick. Yeah, the only notes I have are just talking about Y tribes. Although I could have sworn there was a mention of something about the Y tribes also in Lenosia beyond just the location of the NPCs, but I don't have it stated anywhere. But yeah. Serene, good to see you. Glad to have you. It's always nice to have you around. Mlem indeed. Welcome back, Elio. Word of your momentous encounter with Lord Ramu precedes you. I would fain share news of mine own, but Urianger's discoveries must take precedence. Upon witnessing your defeat of the Lord of Levin, our learned companion was struck with a profound insight regarding the nature of the Ascian's immortality. Let us assemble and discuss his observations together.
If everyone is ready, let us begin.
Oh, I know what this one is.
Eorzean?
Milkshake! Yes! I didn't want to ask for it, but thank you for the milkshake monies. Now I can go get a milkshake after stream. Milkshakes! Thank you.
As all
That is
here
all.
assembled now know, in its final hours as our Order's headquarters, the Waking Sands did play host to a most unexpected visitor. I speak of the Eorzean clad in white, Elidibus. Unwelcome though his presence was, his words that day did serve to confirm a truth long suspected, that the Eorzeans are eternal beings, to whom physical destruction is as a temporary inconvenience.
In the intervening time, Eorzean and I have striven to discover a means by which the Eorzeans might more permanently be slain.
And 'tis my belief that we have found the thread that will allow us to unravel the twisted skein of their existence.
This is a very important cutscene from
prior to
Atheology and
Leviathan's
Metaphysics.
most recent manifestation, the Sahagin elder who summoned him was observed to undergo some manner of ascension. The etheric readings taken by Y'shtola at the time of this transfiguration have proven most enlightening.
The disruption to the flow of ether was sudden and dramatic. So tangible was the agitation, I scarce had need of my goggles.
The significance of Y'shtola's readings might better be understood in the context of mine own, taken at the instant of the Lord of Levin's demise. Unlike the Primal, the Sahagin was not subject to etheric dissipation.
Before discussing our new discoveries, it may benefit us all to recall what we know of etheric behavior.
I haven't forgot about my milkshake duty.
Let us begin at what some might call the end. When we who dwell in the material realm die, our spirits dissolve into the flow of ether and are returned to the ethereal realm. In turn, the restless energy which suffuses that plane streams back into our world, giving rise to new life.
'Tis as the heavens did decree, the way of all mortal souls. Twixt this world and the next do the ethereal currents swirl, bearing the very essence of life. Thus doth the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth continue unabated.
Primals behave somewhat differently. In order to manifest and then maintain a physical presence in this realm, they must consume vast quantities of ether, most often in the form of crystals. Though they may seem to live, their flesh is but ether given shape.
Notably meaning that they do not have souls.
Thus, a defeated primal leaves behind no broken corpse. Rather, the essence of its form seeps back into the land whence it came, and the energy of its shattered spirit is called back to the ethereal realm.
That's the thing, is that that's the shattered spirit thing. Is
till next the prayers of the faithful do draw it forth from the sea of ether to take their offering of crystals and make for itself a new body.
I guess they do have souls, but it's very different to the conception of souls. Well, I guess it's not necessarily that different too.
Which brings us on to the third group, the so-called immortals. They exist in a manner all their own.
Quite. Even as the Sahagin elder fell to the Admiral's musket shot, I witnessed the release of an ethereal cloud, which immediately took possession of a nearby minion.
A soul that dissipateth not upon the death of the flesh.
The secret of life everlasting, and in the claws of a Sahagin no less. But I wonder, what would happen to one of these obstinate spirits should there be no suitable host for it to claim?
If mortal death entails a return to the ethereal realm, it seems doubtful that the soul of an immortal would venture there.
Nay, it merely withdraweth a distance, unto the shore of the ethereal sea, perchance, but no further.
Yes, it exists in neither this realm nor the next, abiding instead in the space that lies between them. The Ascians took control of Thancred by means of a crystal of darkness, an artifact which, if our theories are correct, serves as a gateway to the place I have just described.
I was hoping people had forgotten about that.
I am sorry, my friend.
For a mercy, the weary road of our research hath brought us unto an answer.
The Sahuagin ascended to an immortal state, but he did not possess a crystal of darkness through which to flee this realm. Thus was he consumed by Leviathan. If we could entrap the spirits of defeated Ascians in like manner, and thereby deny them resurrection...
Therein lieth the path to victory. Thou art most perceptive, my lady. Only when we have trapped the bodiless soul within an ethereal prison can we hope to defeat its unnatural constancy. Thus might even an eternal paragon be consigned to oblivion.
These feats are, of course, far easier said than done. At present, we lack a viable means to entrap and extinguish an Ascian soul. Yet, I believe it to be possible. The pieces of the puzzle lie before us. We have but to put them together.
I will depart at once to convene with the sages of Hydaelyn. Together shall we divine the steps by which our goals may be achieved.
I have the utmost faith in you, Archon.
Beg pardon, antecedent, but I would raise one final matter. Even now, a Hydaelyn survey party seeketh to ascertain the fate of the students of Baldesion. Their findings shall soon be known to us. Though you harbor feelings of dread, I bid you surrender not to sorrow, but abide instead in hopeful prayer.
I shall, Archon. Thank you.
The Lord of Levin has returned to the Aether, as was Leviathan before him. Hey, Eorzean. Gabrielle's. Ramuh's acquiescence was most intriguing. Emermeroth, Inferno, Vortex, Crag, Whirl, and Levin all have now been humbled by the Bringer of Light. The limitless potential of man, Hydaelyn's servants grow mightier by the day. Ultima. Yet he prospers at great cost to his mistress, whose strength is all too finite. 7 times have the masses survived the rejoining, but their souls are grown weak and wane. Yet even as it innervates, the ardor empowers our master. All that remains is to nurture the strength of the gifted, to forge the final key. And that is the task to which we bend our every effort. Alright, wrong one. Divine seeds were ever wont to quicken in Eorzean's fertile soil. We need only lead men to the field, and by their eager hands shall a new deity arise. That which was shattered shall be made anew. The one true God shall come again. Fun fact, if you notice, there's 14 plus Elidibus. So I think there's like gotta be a black mask amongst... Oh, there's a black mask! You can see it is a black mask! Holy shit! It is! They actually didn't fuck up! Oh my god! Guys, they didn't fuck up! You can see one of them is a black mask. Totally not Organization 13, guys. Totally. Oh boy, Aetherology 101 with Nerdlord and Monophilia. Rejoice in the glory of Eorzean's milkshakes. Boys in Elio's yards, rejoice, because my milkshake doth bring all gentlefolk to mine yard. Since this is YouTube, we are contractually obligated to say like, share, and subscribe, comment, and join. Do they have souls or do they have concepts? Oh, thank you. Dang, Sage hinted at in 2.x. Sage hinted at 2.x. What part hinted at Sage? Gotta go. Thanks, Power, for being here. Not sure which you mean, Tattle. Does it have any meaning there that the Monophilia was referring to Eorzean as Archon rather than how she had previously called him by his name? Is it just because he's going to deal with Charlian? Yeah, it's just a recognition of him being an Archon. It's just like, and also there's like a certain amount that like them being formal with each other, and also especially with Eorzean, who's always been a little bit more distant with everybody else. So like that's just, it's not that weird. And good to see you, glad to have you. At what point in time did Gaia go to the first? Should she be absent there as well? So Gaia, okay, this is Eden spoilers kind of, but like Gaia was that happened. That the events of that are happening basically right around now. Not Gaia specifically. You know if you know. So, but the events of that are happening now because remember the creation of Eden is perpetuates. It causes the flood of light. So that would be happening roughly around this time. I mean, because the first and the source are mismatched in time, it's not entirely exactly clear when it would be happening. But remember that then the flood of light then happens, and then they come to the source. So if anything, it wouldn't necessarily be happening more time with Heavensward and the Dragonsong War. But yeah, after watching. Weird. People keep joining in and saying stuff like that after watching all of these people, and then YouTube recommends me your FFXIV YouTube. Is this a bot thing, or is this like a culture thing, or is this like a dunking on thing? Like, oh yeah, I watched all these other people before you, and now I'm watching you. I think that must be what it is or something, because it's weird. But either way, thanks for joining. But yeah. But welcome. I don't assume that it's meant to be mean or rude or anything. I just don't know. I've seen multiple people do it, so it's been weird. If you enjoy the stream and aren't already a member of our Discord, why not join us at discord.com. Guardians of Eorzean. Yeah. This is where we're going to get to talk to Boulder. Hoary Boulder. Now the matter of Ramu has, for the present, been put to rest. There is something I would show you, Elio. It is a letter of thanks, signed by the leaders of the Eorzean Alliance, acknowledging the Scion's tireless service to the realm. It mentions in particular the names of all of the defeated primals, Ifrit, Titan, Garuda, King Mogulmog XII, Leviathan, and now Ramu. Needless to say, there is only one amongst our number who have faced them all. And though these words of gratitude were addressed to our order as a whole, I feel they were meant for you above all others. I too must offer my heartfelt thanks for all that you have done. In the course of your duties, you have never once failed to answer my call to arms. You are a true hero, Elio, and Eorzea is that much safer for your presence. Pray, do not misunderstand me. I said safer, not safe. I know only too well that we can ill afford to lower our guard. The Ascians may be relied upon to sow chaos in this realm, until such time as they are forced to stop. Why, even without their encouragement, you may be assured that man would foment strife of his own, and that is to say, nothing of the beast tribes. Unless we learn to live in harmony, the primals too will return to plague us again and again and again. And yet despite all of this, your deeds serve to inspire the people, to give them hope for a better tomorrow, and there is no greater gift than we have the courage to strive for what we might otherwise seem an impossible peace. We owe in no small part to the dangers you have faced on our behalf. and the people you have won over to our cause and doing. Our list of enemies has ever been long, but think of the allies with whom we are now blessed. Of the sylphs of little solace, who wish not of conflict. Of Alice, who striveth to unearth the terrible secrets of the calamity. And then there is Sid and the Fellowship of Noah, racing to unlock the mysteries of ancient Allag, that we might be spared the horror of another ultimate weapon. Telling you to go, hey, do the MSQ, do the do the raids, and do the Alliance raids. Of course, when speaking of our greatest allies, we must not forget those closest to us, by which I mean our fellow scions. Thanks to their many and varied talents, of our order is uniquely equipped to combat the far-reaching corruption of the Ascians, and combat it we shall. Your enthusiasm is truly heartwarming, antecedent. Given our embarrassing wealth of allies, I trust it will not inconvenience you unduly if I absent myself for a time. Alfino, I take it the troubles in Ul'dah no longer require your attention. There are yet some rumblings of discontent, but the air of simmering violence is largely dissipated. 'Tis to report such that I stand before you now. That, and to speak with you concerning the new organization we discussed. I have a message for you from Ellie. You recall the refugee girl? The one whose parents went missing. They were found unharmed. She wished me to pass on her thanks to you. Why, Alfino, am I to understand that you made the effort to remember the poor girl's name? I look forward to reading all about her in your report. I do hope you're left nothing out. Elio, you have been away from Revenant's Toll for some time now, I believe. Might I suggest that you put the affairs of the realm to one side for the moment and take this opportunity to reacquaint yourself with the town. Which reminds me, one of the Doman children recently inquired as to your whereabouts. Eorzean was his name. I believe that he has some small matter he wishes to share with you. Why not oblige him with a visit? Recalling the last Ascian cutscene when they listed off the primals they had in hand, they didn't mention King Moggle Moggle just really throw down on their own. The Muggles mentioned that a masked man in the Moogle questline. Yeah. Yes, they do. They were taught by the Ascians. Remember that people, unless, very weird things happen, people have to be taught by the Ascians how to summon primals. Or someone has to teach them. Now, seeing as there isn't necessarily a limit to, incantations and it's more just faith and aether, it's a little weird. That doesn't seem like there are hyper-specific requirements, but... Ah, Elio, care to watch a lesson before you journey on your way? I dare say a presence would go far to inspire the younglings. Repetition and routine begets skill. Skill begets confidence. I would do what I can to see the Doman regain their strength of will. Higiri. 137, 138, 130... Oh, hello there. I've been charged with keeping inventory. Flamine tells me it's vitally important. Oh dear, I seem to have lost count. Never is a woman more lovely than when she's hard at work, I say. A wild rose, strong and beautiful, blooming tall in the face of the frozen winds. Oh, Thancred, keep it in your pants. Look, it's Mr. Elio. He's back from his adventures. We heard you were all fighting primals and that some of the strongest enemies you could have ever faced. I wish I could have seen you in battle. Anyway, we all want to be heroes too, so we finally formed our own Doman Adventurers Guild to protect all the Domans. Oh, do you think you could train us today, Master Elio? Maybe you could show us how you fought the primals. What's all the commotion then? Mr. Boulder and Mr. Coultonay, did you know that Mr. Elio is back? So it would seem. Welcome home, Elio. My companion and I but recently became full members of the Scion, and I believe proper introductions have yet to be made. I am known as Hoary Boulder, and this bookish fellow is Coultonay. Though we remain largely unproven as adventurers, we have taken it upon ourselves to instruct the Doman younglings in the arts of combat. Does the Wild Rose Blooms text option joke seem anytime after AR? I don't know that it's... I think there's at least one other reference to it, but it comes from Final Fantasy II. And we were just asking Mr. Elio if he could give us some special training. I think we're ready to hunt monsters alongside him, don't you? Well, you've certainly been diligent with your drills, but I'm afraid the fiends of Mordona are still ever so slightly too dangerous for you. I have a counter-proposal. What if I were to cross swords with Elio? A demonstration of skill at arms, if you will.
Hori, if I didn't know better, and I do, I'd say you were merely seeking to test yourself against a legend.
Well, mayhap I am, but what matters the motive when the children stand to learn so much from the lesson? What say you, Elio? Would you consent to spar with me?
Several times. Yeah, I just can't remember them. I know there's at least one other time, but I can't remember all of the times it pops it back up. Hurrah! Hurrah! We're here to have a tournament. Come on, everyone. We must prepare gear to get our gear. I don't know. I missed what he said. Last one I remember is the 5.x. Okay, so yeah, it does keep coming up and up and up. Do not try to disappoint them.
Have faith, Coltonay. I shall summon every last ounce of my strength to make of this a worthy contest. The fiends to the east of town should prove suitable for our purpose. I very much look forward to our bout.
Let's break a boulder, guys. Let's break some boulders.
'Twas good of you to agree to this, Elio. I trust you are ready to begin. Oh.
During the password is password bit, if I recall correctly. Oh, I forget. I totally forgot about that bit. The kids will be running around an area with 50+ level enemies, right? Jalali. Sexy indeed. The kids will be fine running around. I mean, they'll be fine. They're right out the premises. Hori, are you certain you wish to fight him alone? That is Elio you face.
What better way to test my mettle? Pray, allow me to attempt the first round unaided. After all, 'twas the hero's legend that led me to join the Scions to begin with. Without Elio to inspire my efforts, I would not be half the warrior I am today.
Your point is well made, but remember, this is for the children's sake as well as your own. Should it appear the contest will end too swiftly, I shall add my spells to your blade work. Hello! You haven't begun yet, have you?
Yida, what? Who are all these people?
When I heard about your sparring match, I told everyone I could find. Thought you could use a crowd to cheer you on. Yes, and there are still more to come. When I mentioned Elio's name, the reaction was quite enthusiastic. Why, my own popularity seems but a sickly shade in comparison. You best claim victory, O Bringer of Light. Your burgeoning reputation is at stake. Well, our teacher won't be beaten so easily. He's a master swordsman. You can win, Mr. Boulder.
We shall soon see. On your guard.
I always imagine the monsters we see are just some meta MMO enemies. In reality, the lands aren't so teaming with monsters. They are pretty teaming.
Day and night I have honed my skill. Now we shall put them to the test. Ugh, such power. The tails barely do you justice.
Mr. Boulder won't lose, will he? It's not over yet. It can't be. I, the children, have the right of it. 'Tis time I joined the fray. On your feet, Hori. We know that the worlds are pretty teeming with them, with creatures. But they're very close. I must admit defeat. 'Twas an honor and a privilege. Oh no, he looks hurt. Mr. Elio is so strong, but you can't give up, Mr. Boulder.
Can't disappoint the younglings. Rah! Never have I faced such strength, but the lesson must continue. More so based on their initial proposal to go home instead of watching the duel. Okay. Oh, yeah. No. Now I understand. Yeah, I'm sure they'll be fine. You bested me. I yield.
That was incredible! He beat them both at the same time!
We knew you couldn't lose, Elio. None can defeat the Guardian of Eorzea. Now I've seen why they send you to deal with the primals. I have much work to do if I'm ever to attempt the same. Impressive as always, Elio. 'Tis ever a pleasure to witness the spectacle of your martial prowess. And judging by the smiles on these many faces, they too appreciate the hard-won strength that keeps the perils of the realm at bay. Guardians of Eorzea. Yes, that is the most fitting title. Do you recall when we first met? 'Twas at the memorial service for the Battle of Cartanau. At that time, I was yet attempting to understand the land of Eorzea. I sought to grasp the reason why Grandfather willingly sacrificed himself to protect it. I shall speak plainly. My initial impressions were less than favorable. Dire problems abounded, and yet the effort I saw expended towards their solutions was haphazard and half-hearted. I thought Eorzeans a foolish and childish people. Considering the shambles their home was in, I would not have been surprised if some had chosen to swear allegiance to Gaius and the order he proposed to enforce. The legate's single-minded military invasion precluded any such switching of loyalties, of course. Were it not for a desire to continue Grandfather's legacy, I would have abandoned the realm to its fate long ago. The threats were too many, and the nations are too self-involved and unstable. 'Twas you who convinced me the salvation of Eorzea was possible. 'Twas you who taught me, through countless acts of bravery, that what my grandsire sought to preserve was not the land, nor its history, nor any single nation. It was the people. These wonderful, often infuriating, stubborn people that suffer blow after terrible blow, only to drag themselves back to their feet to face another day. Though he never put such feelings into words, I believe Grandfather's admiration for the inextinguishable courage grew into a fervent wish, a wish to aid Eorzea and its inhabitants in charting a course for the future. A wish that has now become my own. I too will endeavor to take up the mantle of the Guardian of Eorzea and champion these people who toil towards a better world. Our cause, however, is not a simple one. The troubles that plague us are of a scale that cannot be solved by the scions of the Seventh Dawn alone. No, what is needed to tackle the root of the primal threat and effectively counter the schemes of the Ascian is a new, expanded organization that operates beyond the limitations of nations and borders. If you would aid me in building such an organization, then pray, let us continue this discussion back within the walls of the Rising Stones. When I did the dialogue was, wow, do you always take both at the same time? I'll take scenes that should be voiced for 500, Alex. Yeah, the fact that Connie Senna voiced hers, but we didn't get Alfino for that, it's weirdly all over the place. Gridania in a weird way seems to have the worst given the high number of plants that can just move around and attack. Yeah, I mean, the Beastkin and Wavekin of Lenosia are bad. The, like, Vilekin and Beastkin of, like, Ul'dah are also bad. I think there's just also more open room in the other two compared to the Shroud. So, like, the Shroud is, like, seems there's no reprieve. Feed me, Seymour! Thank you for coming, Elio. The world shifts and alters, and we, my friend, must ever be one step ahead of chaos. Chaos! What I propose is the formation of a new organization, a group that shall pave the way for a truly united Eorzea. Okay. We're gonna pause there. because we're almost done with 2.3, and we're running out of time, and that's a good stopping place. I also have to go do real world work, and I need to clean my house. Oh God, why did I do that? Why did I do that? This is a great idea, Alphino. Absolutely nothing can or will go wrong with this idea. It's true. Having a large amount of power and armored and weaponized individuals as a group beholden to no specific people other than those with a limited experience in yeah. I can see nothing negative repercussions coming from this. Okay. With a 17-year-old in charge. I mean, it's not even probably been a year, so he may even still be 16. We have a TFC on Crystal Curl. If you'd like to come join our TFC, feel free to come do that. Second time. Yes. So, all this stuff. Patreon, if you'd like to have your name in the credits above me, as well as all sorts of fun rewards, you can support us on Patreon. It goes a long way to making this whole thing a lot more sustainable for me and means that Deadpool will get more treats. No, but it all goes towards the channel. On top of that, if you like written lore, you can always go to our website, www.eorzeanarchives.com, and read the written lore created by Niniri there. We also have our Discord, which you can come join, where we talk about Final Fantasy XIV stuff all the time. It's a good time. We have streams on Mondays and Tuesdays. I am taking a some break while I recover from COVID fatigue still from Thursday, so I'm gonna have Thursdays be off days. But other than that, the schedule should be relatively still the same. Yeah. Fridays are Lore Book Club, which we'll actually have this Friday. Wednesdays are new videos. Saturdays are community stream, and then Sundays are the Sloppy Sundays over on Twitch. If you like listening to our podcast stuff, you can find our End Talkers and Lore Talks over on Spotify. And if you like what we do, consider supporting us on Patreon. Follow us on Twitter for interesting content. We have a lot of fun stuff being put up by some of my fellow archons over on there. You can get magnets and stickers and other fun goods of our emotes and all sorts of fun stuff over at Redbubble, over on the link in the description. You can also become an Archon here on YouTube. You give us $1 and you'll be able to get access to all sorts of fun emotes, and yeah, it'll be a good time. Oh my God, I need to go do work, and then I need to try to rest to get healthy again. It's been lovely spending time with you guys. I appreciate you guys joining me on this journey, and I'm looking forward to continuing it with all of you. And hopefully I'll feel better soon. With that said, I'm going to head out here in a second. If anyone has any final thoughts or things that they want to mention, now would be a good time. Taken care of. Cool. Thanks for stream. Get some more rest. Will do, Jellybean. Thank you so much for all you guys do. Oh, look at Jellybean with her tea. Oh, with Destiny with the tea. Right with their dancing. Shizu, do you feel better soon? Thank you so much for the fun stream. Absolutely. I hope to see you around. Chris, thank you. Yes, absolutely. Bye, everyone. Yeah, see you, everyone. And none of this means anything without you, the viewer. Thank you, sincerely, truly. Thank you. And thank you, Ray, and Tethys, for your hard work, especially lately while East has been out and I have been still trying to recover. But with that, I'm headed out. Have a lovely evening, everyone.